This diaper-wearing kid was born at the exact moment the strongest ancient god was reincarnated. But instead of the typical story where he becomes a total badass straight out of diapers, absolutely nothing has happened, even after more than 20 years. The only weird thing is that ever since he was a kid, Shaka has constantly dreamed of a war between gods. So realistic it feels like it's happening right in front of him. Just like any other day, Shaka suddenly woke up with a start from that dream, burying his sweat-drenched face in his hands. Maybe this is his body's weird biological clock keeping him from sleeping in. That is why he always wakes up before 11 in the morning, rushing to find his shoes and head out to work. He lives in Hongsho Bay of S City. After surviving the millennial solar storm, the city bounced back incredibly fast, becoming a nation-renowned hub for science and technology. With summer break in full swing, it's the perfect time for Shaka to hustle. He has to wear a thick egg roll costume in sweltering heat that feels like an oven, constantly waving a sign to welcome customers. Hey beautiful ladies, come try our brand new egg rolls. Only 12 yuan a serving, an absolute steal. Today seems to be Shika's lucky day, as he actually gets a glance from a customer. These days, everyone is into bubble tea and mochi. Nobody even thinks about eating egg rolls for a meal anymore. The only reason people are crowding around Shaka is because of his ridiculous costume, taking videos to post on TikTok for views. Feeling the judging stares of passers-by, Shaka regrets ever applying for this job. Right now, even just a single word of encouragement would give him the motivation to keep going. Suddenly, a kid walking by points at Shaka in awe. Mom, look at that big brother. He looks so cool. Just as Shaka is practically wagging his tail with joy, the kid smirks mischievously. Is he a fat superhero? I am definitely not getting that fat when I grow up. Shaka wants to rip off his costume right then and there to teach that kid a lesson, but the boss's booming voice makes him turn pale. What's with that face you're making at the customer? Shaka instantly shuts his mouth. To make matters worse, the boss nags him for not bringing in a single customer all morning. Calling Shaka inside, the boss throws a wad of cash his pay for the last few days at him, making it clear he is fired. Shaka tries his best to reason with him, begging, I've got killer looks, long legs, and a loud voice. Why are you firing me? Hearing this only pisses the boss off more. He initially thought Shika's looks could save the shop, but he wasn't actually that handsome. 3 days of probation, and you only managed to attract one scammer. Take this and get out. With nothing left to say, Shaka can only pack his bags and leave. If this job doesn't work out, he'll just find another. Tearing off that stinky egg costume, Shaka feels light as a feather. Even though he just got fired, he remains incredibly optimistic. Getting off early means he can focus entirely on his match tonight. That night, Shaka chugs a bunch of energy drinks and smashes his keyboard, finally making it to the finals of this garbage game. This kid is pretty good, but yours truly has never lost a match on my way here. Where do you think you can hide? Shaka locates his opponent and takes him down in one clean shot, slamming his desk in pure excitement. In a surge of pure adrenaline, Shaka realizes that after a whole month of grinding, he has finally won the championship. Turns out even a trash game can be pretty tough. Suddenly, the guy he just killed sends Shaka a cryptic message. Live well. See you on the battlefield. Shaka frowns in confusion. Is this sore loser cursing him because he is salty? Meanwhile, in another part of S City, a young man sits with his chin in his hand, staring amusedly at his monitor. Well, this kid is still insanely good at gaming. I have high expectations for you, Shaka. Shaka types out a reply but deletes it, telling himself he is too lazy to deal with a big-mouthed troll. Right now, he just needs to shower and get some sleep. Having won the championship tonight, Shaka is finally spared from his usual nightmares. Instead, he dreams of being pampered by 4 gorgeous girls at the same time. But just as he is about to get down to business, a man's loud voice rings in his ears. Open up! Package delivery! Shaka half opens his eyes, checks the clock to see it's only 4 in the morning, and mutters a curse. I'm coming. What kind of delivery service is this dedicated? A delivery guy with hair covering half his face, showing only his mouth and pearly white teeth, startles Shaka. The moment he takes the package, the delivery guy immediately leaves, leaving behind a cryptic warning. Take good care of it, Shaka. Shaka stands frozen for a moment before heading back inside. Inside is a wooden box carved with exquisite and intricate patterns. He takes a deep breath, his hands trembling. Holy crap. Could this be the champion prize from that game company? In their last event, they did mention that the champion's reward would be a gaming peripheral. The world's limit, easily the most powerful weapon in existence right now. Tika eagerly tore the box open, dying to lay his eyes on the beauty of this absolute beast of a weapon. But the light in his eyes instantly died the second he saw the dull, rusty blade in his hands. Tika gripped the cheap knife and cursed out loud. The company dragged him out of bed at 4 in the morning, only to send him a piece of junk that couldn't even slice a tomato. Right on cue, the delivery guy called his boss to report his success. "Lady Marie, the blade has been delivered, and he has absolutely no suspicions." Tika tossed the useless knife back into the box and crawled back into bed. But before he could even close his eyes, his phone started buzzing again. It was that overly enthusiastic broker again. The moment Tika picked up, a greasy, sickeningly sweet voice echoed from the speaker. "Hey there, baby Tika. Your daddy's on the line." Tika vented all his frustration onto the broker, screaming at him for hooking him up with a job where he had to wear an outfit that looked like a pile of crap every day. The guy on the other end just casually chuckled and asked, "Oh, did you get fired again? Well, hey, at least you lasted longer than last time." With that, he sent Tika a new job listing over in South Whitestone District. Hearing those words, Tika's eyes instantly lit up, and all his anger evaporated. South Whitestone District was a brand new tech hub, built right after the solar storm of the century. Every single cutting-edge tech corporation had a headquarters set up there. Tika hopped onto a high-speed submarine train, heading straight to this paradise for corporate wage slaves, curious about what flavor of capitalism he would have to endure this time. As the train sped through an underwater tunnel, a kid nearby started cheering with excitement. Once they cleared this tunnel, they would arrive at South Whitestone District. Tika was casually looking around when his gaze locked onto a stunning girl with long hair and a short skirt who was leaning flat against the glass window. Wow, it is so beautiful. This underwater tunnel definitely lives up to the hype. The kid was still completely mesmerized by the deep blue water right outside, especially after his dad mentioned that this was not the actual ocean floor. Hearing this, the gorgeous girl turned to them and gently explained, "The real ocean floor is actually pitch black and freezing cold. It is not pretty at all." Tika's face went pale. The real ocean floor? What did she mean by that? Had she actually been down there before? Suddenly, their eyes locked. In that exact moment, only 2 words flashed through Tika's mind. Freaking gorgeous. Her blushing, innocent, doe-eyed expression sent 1,000 of Cupid's arrows straight through Tika's heart. When she actually waved hello to him, Cupid ditched the bow and upgraded to an assault rifle. But just as his heart was doing backflips, the train arrived at Behi Station, and she got off. Tika did not want to let her slip away, but there was no way he could fight through the crowd of dozens of other guys who were just as hopelessly smitten as him. Just like that, Tika lost his dream girl and was left all alone again. Meanwhile, over at the Platinum Building, the receptionist was puffing on a cigarette while intensely playing online mahjong. Sweet, finally, a killer hand. There is no way I am losing this round. Right then, Tika tapped on the desk and asked, "Excuse me, is Brother Golden in?" Which completely set her off. Damn it, can't you see I was about to win? That guy is in the very last room down the hall. As Tika walked away, she let out a wild, ape-like shriek of joy, probably because she had just clutched the win. He shook his head, silently judging the terrible reception service. Suddenly, a door nearby slammed open, and a body came flying out into the hallway. Tika glanced over and saw a massive, muscular brute stepping out of the room. "My patience has its limits. I gave you a chance, and you threw it back in my face." The skinny guy groveling on the floor begged for mercy. Suddenly, a hand gripped Tika's shoulder, and a voice that sent shivers down his spine whispered, "Oh, little Tika, you're finally here?" This was Dagudan, the director of Jingguang Brokerage. He dragged Tika into a back room where several other hopeful job seekers were gathered. There were 5 people in the room already, and every single one of them looked incredibly tense. One shady-looking guy with hair completely covering his face kept darting his eyes toward Tika, making Tika gulp nervously and pray the guy didn't see him as fresh meat. Dagudan finally found the paperwork and handed it out, announcing that this was a massive, high-paying gig for the whole group. As they read through the files, 2 guys' eyes went wide in disbelief. The Kongwang Group? Are you serious right now? This conglomerate was one of the 3 largest medical corporations in the world, holding massive influence over the entire tech and internet sector. But Tika couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. That was when Dagudan finally revealed the payout for this job. After his cut, it came down to exactly $50,000. What a joke. At that rate, why doesn't he just go rob a bank instead? Tika silently agreed with the other guys. The man had dog in his name, but he clearly had the greedy, ruthless appetite of a starving tiger. Looking around, Tika realized this whole establishment was basically just a glorified highway robbery. Just then, the long-haired guy leaned over and whispered to him, "Hey, Tika, this is straight-up extortion, isn't it?" It was a relief to find someone who agreed with him, but at the end of the day, none of them had any choice but to pay up. Meanwhile, the white-haired kid in the group was quietly staring off, recalling the secret mission his boss had personally assigned to him. His primary mission was to secretly spy on Shiga, but right now, he felt like the guy was truly nothing more than an ordinary working man. But there was no way someone hand-picked by the Long family for surveillance could be that ordinary. This only made him more curious, wondering what Shiga would do now that he was dragged into this game. So he kicked things off by standing up and shouting, "Let's run. I don't need this opportunity anymore." Sure enough, Dagu wasn't about to let them leave. A giant thug blocked the entire doorway, demanding 40 yuan from each of them to pass. Dagu sat there, smugly warning them not to try and play smart. The white-haired young man sneered. "Looks like the difficulty just leveled up." Seeing him smirk, a bald thug grabbed him by the collar, ready to throw hands. The white-haired guy quickly swiped his card to pay up. Shiga could only freeze in place, not daring to make a move, waiting for the right moment to act. He then followed the group out to the reception desk. Just then, another thug showed up, flirting with the girl at the door and asking, "Has Brother Hua arrived yet?" "You bet he is, and Brother Hua has missed you so much." Meanwhile, Dagu led the group out right behind Shiga. Just one look was enough to tell that this Brother Hua guy was up to no good. Brother Hua asked Dagu how business was going, bragging about how hard it was to finally capture a little beauty for a little inspection. Suddenly, a loud crash from upstairs startled everyone. A group of thugs was chasing after a girl. Her familiar figure instantly triggered a memory for Shijie. Suddenly, she tripped and flew straight toward him, leaving him with zero time to react. They both tumbled to the ground, with her face landing smack dab against his crotch. A few of her buttons had popped open, and her face was flushed beet red. I'm so sorry. Wait, why are you here too?" Before they could even process what was happening, a brutal hand grabbed her ponytail and yanked her backward. A bunch of obvious junkies were playing with her like she was a helpless doll. "My bad, Brother Hua. This little brat is actually pretty clever." Shige's blood boiled instantly, and he shouted at them to let her go. Dagu quickly warned him, "Don't try to play the hero here, kid. Upstairs is a legitimate ad agency, so mind your own damn business." As he spoke, his eyes were shamelessly glued to her chest, which was about to be completely exposed. The more Shiga thought about it, the more furious he became. His dream girl was about to be defiled. How could he just stand there and do nothing? Taking advantage of their distraction, Shiga snatched the walkie-talkie out of Dagu's hand and smashed it right into the blonde guy's face, sending him rolling backward with his eyes spinning. Dagu's eyes widened in sheer shock and admiration. Whoa, this kid looked like a total scammer, but he's actually got a backbone. But the moment after pulling off that shocker, regret instantly kicked in. Shiga grabbed the girl's hand and bolted. Brother Hua, who had been scowling in silence, finally exploded. "You bunch of useless trash, get after them." The bald thug barked at the scammed crowd to stay put and not even think about moving. The fat guy obediently complied. The white-haired guy didn't expect Shiga to have so much style, quietly rooting for him before slipping away. The mob of thugs chased after Shijie, screaming that they were going to skin him alive. Seeing things get ugly, Shiga gestured for the girl to run ahead. He then shoved a pile of junk right into their path. Running at full speed, the thugs couldn't brake in time and got buried under the pile of clutter. Meanwhile, Shiga smugly ran ahead for a bit. But suddenly, the girl ground to a halt, leaving Shiga completely bewildered. To their horror, they had run in a giant circle, ending up right back at the entrance of this maze. Dagu mockingly advised Shige to throw in the towel, saying, "I actually like your guts, kid. Come back, and I'll even give you a 50% discount." "Well, what do you say? Cut the crap." "No way in hell," Shiga shouted back defiantly. Brother Hua was absolutely livid, immediately ordering his giant thugs to gang up on him. Terrified, the girl shrank behind Shige's back. Just then, his eyes caught the blonde thug with the freshly swollen face, and an idea flashed in his mind. Without hesitating, Shiga grabbed her hand and dashed in a different direction. While dodging the other thugs, Shiga headed straight for the blonde guy. The poor thug clutched his bruised face in panic, crying out, "Oh, come on, why me again?" Just as the guy was about to wet his pants in fear, Shiga blew past him like a gust of wind, casually tossing the card reader back at them. Brother Hua marched up and grabbed the blonde guy by his collar, screaming in his face, "God damn it, Xiaofei, what the hell is wrong with you? If you don't catch them, don't you dare show your face here again." Shiga finally made it out of that maze of a building, but the thugs were still hot on his heels. Blushing, the girl whispered, "How much longer do we have to hide here?" Shiga gave a dry laugh, explaining that the thugs were still lurking around, so they couldn't leave just yet. But being squeezed into a cramped alley with a girl whose shirt was barely covering her chest was starting to make Shige's temperature rise. "Oh, it's nothing. Anyone would have done the same. Hey, look, I think they've finally gone." By the time they felt safe enough to leave, night had already fallen. Nightfall only made South Baishijou even more bustling. And there was Shige, taking a stroll under the stars with his dream girl. She playfully turned around and pinched Shijia's bright red nose, saying, "Thanks so much for today." Shigia felt a sharp sting, like an ant bite. Even though he had brought this on himself, he couldn't help but chuckle. And now, the most important part had finally arrived. The girl introduced herself as Daozi. Shigia shared his name too, and just like that, they were officially acquainted. The dark alley was so chilly that Daozi let out a sneeze. Shigia immediately handed her his jacket to block the wind. Honestly, if I were the author, I'd have them check into a motel right about now. Running out of things to say, Shigia curiously asked if those thugs had done anything to hurt her. Looking down at her exposed outfit, she reflexively stroked Shigia's cheek and explained that her dress had just gotten torn while she was escaping. As it turned out, Daozi had snuck out of her house to find a job, only to get scammed. That shady agency tried to force her into doing some highly provocative photo shoots. In a desperate move, Daozi kicked over all their equipment and managed to knock out the guard. But as she was fleeing, she tripped and fell right on top of Shigia. Reaching this part of the story, Daozi's eyes began to sparkle. "I'm so lucky I ran into you." Shigia blushed furiously, feeling like he had suddenly become the most important person in his muse's life. Realizing how late it had gotten, Daozi worried that her brother might be looking all over for her. She quickly used her lipstick to write her phone number on the back of Shigia's hand and ran off. Staring at the writing on his hand, Shigia felt a jolt of electricity run through his chest. Was his single life finally coming to an end? Meanwhile, over at Yinghua's gang headquarters, the thugs were taking a beating for failing to capture Shigia and Daozi. Fuming with rage, he kicked Xiaofei right in the groin, making the other thugs reflexively cover their own thighs. "You couldn't even keep an eye. What the hell do I even keep you guys around for?" Just then, Dagu spoke up to calm Yinghua down. "Boss, I'm the one who brought him. I know I messed up. I've got his address right here." Yinghua immediately ordered Dagu to go find Shigia while he made a phone call. He even gestured for the rest of the gang to shut up. "Hello? Is this Lord Huo?" Hearing the name Lord Huo, everyone instantly covered their mouths in shock. He was the leader of the Qinglang gang, radiating a cool, sharp vibe. He asked, "What happened now?" Yinghua instantly chickened out and stammered as he brought up Shigia. "There's this punk who broke the rules of the streets. We need to teach him a serious lesson." The dripping sound of water made Shigia open his eyes. He was bewildered to find himself in the middle of a surreal, magical space. An eerie voice echoed repeatedly, "Shigia, I've finally found you." Shigia bolted upright, looking around to see who it was. But as he looked down at the water, his face turned pale with shock. Shigia's shadow on the water had somehow become massive and took on a bizarre, monstrous shape. Startled, Shigia fell backward onto the ground. "Damn it, is it that demon god again?" The shadow didn't answer, only letting out a chilling, cackling laugh. Shigia splashed his hands into the water, trying to force it to show its true form, but instead felt a sharp, stinging pain in his hand. Suddenly, a whirlpool swirled around him. The water droplets transformed into hands of all sizes, grabbing him tightly and locking Shigia in place. Finally, Shigia snapped awake in his bed. This nightmare felt way more real than any of his previous ones. He looked down at his palm, horrified to see it was actually bleeding, just like in his dream. Shigia glanced at the black blade resting beside him. He figured he must have sleepwalked and grabbed it by mistake, but he could have sworn he left it out in the living room. The more he thought about it, the more bizarre and blurry everything became. Brushing it off, Shigia headed into the bathroom. After his shower, he noticed some smudged ink on the back of his hand. Oh no, that was Daozi's phone number. Full of regret, Shigia slumped onto the couch. No wonder the universe has kept him single all these years. But a text from the game company instantly lifted Shigia's spirits. They invited him to the Guangyu building in Nanbaishizhou for an award ceremony. The venue was incredibly grand and luxurious. The hall was packed, yet two girls still managed to recognize Shijia. They politely escorted him to the dressing room to change. As soon as he heard them mention a scepter, Shijia happily bolted right in. The two girls looked at each other, sighing in disappointment. Honestly, if it weren't for the sash, they wouldn't even recognize the champion. After all, he just had a totally ordinary face. Meanwhile, Thik Ka, panting heavily, dashed into the dressing room, where a young guy pointed him toward his scepter. He took a deep breath and yelled, "I'm your champion this year. Thik See's here. The organizers want the winners on stage to get ready." Thik Sie eagerly scrambled along, hauling the scepter. But since it was so heavy and he was in such a rush, he ended up face-planting hard onto the floor. A voice, both strange and familiar, echoed, "We just met, and you're already bowing down to me? To think I actually lost to a guy like you. How embarrassing." Thiksa instantly recognized the white-haired guy from the bandit hideout and remembered his words to live a good life. Shika didn't even care to get involved in the drama at the awards ceremony. Bao Bao, the host, enthusiastically introduced the top 3 players on the esports leaderboard of the year. The champion was Shika, the runner-up was Ruman, and third place went to NBC. Bao Bao wanted to turn and ask Shika how he felt, but all Shika could think about was how much longer he had to hold on to this stupid scepter. So, Bao Bao just brushed it off and moved on to introduce a very special guest. Representing the Kongwang group was Miss Mu Zhaohua. Just then, Taozi stepped out in a gorgeous, pure white dress. She walked up to Shika, and seeing him about to call out her name, she quickly made a gesture. "This is our little secret. Please keep it a secret from me, okay?" Shika blushed, completely speechless, and could only watch as Taozi stepped up to deliver her speech. She took the microphone, cleared her throat for some standard opening remarks, and then raised her voice to get the crowd absolutely hyped. "On behalf of the Kongwang Group, I am proud to announce that next year, we will invest 100 billion to build a global esports ecosystem." Standing before Taozi, Shika felt more useless than ever. In the end, he was still just a loser. Clutching the piece of scrap metal she had tossed him, he realized they lived in completely different worlds. Those blurred numbers written in red lipstick didn't even matter anymore. Meanwhile, Ruman suddenly received a brand new mission. Instead of keeping tabs on Shika, his target was to capture a wanted criminal in the city. A smirk formed on his face as he put on his legendary glasses and form-fitting suit, slicking back his hair to look sharp. "Shika, I'm going to be gone for a while. Make sure you stay alive, okay?" That night, Shika wandered on his way home, not expecting a simple award ceremony to drag on for so long. But at least he got to see his goddess, Taozi. She was still holding onto his jacket. Just thinking about it made Shika grin from ear to ear, but he immediately shook off those thoughts and slumped back into his usual exhausted walk. Suddenly, Shika bumped into something both hard and soft. Looking up, he was stunned to find himself surrounded by a group of thugs. Shika looked like a total homeless guy. "Don't tell me these guys rob homeless people too," the blonde thug barked. "Stand straight. Our boss is looking for you." Shika was totally confused, wondering which mob boss he had accidentally pissed off. A black-haired guy wearing thick chains and slicked with grease stepped forward. "You are Shika, right?" Shika immediately shook his head and waved his hands. Who would be stupid enough to admit it now? It was time to get the hell out of there. But suddenly, Yinghua's voice cut through the air. He angrily jumped out to point fingers. "You ruined my plans. Even if you turned into a dog, I'd still recognize you." Shika finally realized why he was surrounded. He told himself he couldn't afford to let his guard down. These guys had a completely different vibe than the punks from before. One thug swung an iron pipe, sending Shika flying backward. Armed with clubs and rocks, they closed in and began stomping on him. Shika could only curl up and grit his teeth. There were too many of them, and he didn't have the strength to fight back. Shika had thought today was his lucky day, getting crowned champion, and even seeing Taozi again. But in the end, he ended up in this dark alley, getting jumped by a mob. Seeing Shika writhing on the ground, one thug pulled out a dagger, ready to carve him up. Out of nowhere, the black blade flew in and sliced off his raised arm. The gang stared in absolute shock, as if they had just seen a ghost. Meanwhile, Shika slowly stood up, gripping the black blade in his hand. When they saw his glowing red, bloodthirsty eyes, they realized they had messed with the wrong guy. Their boss, Li Dan, broke out in a cold sweat. He knew that the blade flying on its own to save Shika meant only one thing. There was only one explanation. Shika was also a psionic user, just like their Lord Huo. But those foolish thugs still hadn't realized how bad things were, and kept rushing forward, only to be sent to their graves with a single slash from Shaka. Shaka spun the blade 360 degrees in his hand and threw it like a boomerang, his eyes unflinching, as blood splattered everywhere. Those who tried to flee in terror were immediately cut off by Shaka, their blood-curdling screams echoing through the narrow alley. In the end, only Yinghua was left, trembling and utterly clueless as to why Shaka had suddenly become so cold-blooded. Just then, something rushed up behind him. Li Dan, who had just taken some heavy drugs, charged forward like a wild bull, with a face as red as a tomato. A single punch from him unleashed a powerful shockwave, pushing Shaka back. Yinghua called out Li Dan's name. Seeing the empty adrenaline vials from the organization scattered on the ground, he instantly understood what was going on. Lao Ju raised his massive, muscular arm in triumph, only to realize that his wrist had been sliced open and was already bleeding. Yet Shaka just looked up at Lao Ju with a completely mocking gaze, which only made him more ecstatic. Haha, bring it on, I'll show you what pain feels like. 5 minutes ago, before things got completely out of hand, Lao Ju had swallowed a handful of the organization's drugs. His body felt as if it were being torn apart and rebuilt in an instant. With only a few pills left in the bottle, it seemed Lao Ju didn't even care about his own life anymore. He flexed his muscles so hard that his chains and clothes tore open, aggressively charging at Shaka like a mad bull. Elder Zhu's devastating punch looks like it could crush a person's insides, but Sakya effortlessly dodges it. He tests his opponent with each strike. Aren't you a psychic? Let's see what you've got. Elder Zhu keeps throwing punches. Despite his bulky frame, he is incredibly fast. But Sakya is even faster, dodging effortlessly as dirt and debris fly into the air. Having dominated the scene for years, Elder Zhu is confident he's seen every type of psychic out there. And in his eyes, ordinary psychics are no better than ants. After playing around with Elder Zhu long enough, Sakya delivers a light jab right to his gut, making him spit. He grits his teeth and holds his breath, trying to suppress the gut-wrenching pain as his head spins like crazy. This kid is actually pretty interesting, huh? The next second, he leaps high into the air with all his might, clasping his hands together for a finishing blow. When Elder Zhu lands, the ground shakes as if hit by an atomic bomb. Just as Sakya leaps out of the smoke, Elder Zhu's massive hand grabs him. Striking a pose like a pro discus thrower, he roars, "How could I ever lose to you?" With a swing of his arm, Elder Zhu sends Sakya flying through the air. Watching these powerhouses clash, Manhwa is left speechless. This drug is really something. Drunk on power, Elder Zhu rushes forward, unleashing a barrage of punches on the wall Sakya was thrown into. After a while, he finally stops. Watching from a distance, Manhwa anxiously waits for the outcome. Suddenly, Elder Zhu's face contorts in horror, as if he's just seen a ghost. As the dust clears, Sakya is blocking the punch with just one hand, pinning Elder Zhu so hard he can't even move. Suddenly, Sakya lets go, only to grab Elder Zhu's arm and snap it backward, making him squeal like a stuck pig. With just that one move, Elder Zhu feels like his arm is completely shattered as he collapses to the ground. Sakya casually strikes a pose, then kicks Elder Zhu right under the chin with his heel, sending him flying backward into the air. Right now, only one word echoes in Elder Zhu's mind: monster. Sakya is basically playing with Elder Zhu like a clown. And yet, the old man thought he could match him? Sakya slips behind him, summoning his dark blade, ready to draw some blood. Just then, a gunshot rings out. Manhwa, trembling, pulls the trigger a few times, shooting Sakya in the back. "Die, you monster!" He collapses, thinking he has finally escaped. But Sakya slowly stands back up, turning around to glare at him with glowing red eyes. For the first time in his life, Manhwa feels terror deep down in his soul. Crawling backward like a dog, his voice trembles uncontrollably. Hey, let's talk this out, okay? No need to get violent." With that, he turns tail and runs, too terrified to look back. Sakya drops his dark blade and sighs, leaning against the wall in absolute pain. Damn it, this body really is too weak. Show yourself. A pair of red heels steps out of the shadows, followed by a coquettish voice cutting through the apocalyptic silence. "I have been searching for you." "So, you're the one who woke me up?" Mary's eyes spark with excitement, her posture completely submissive. "I was so looking forward to your return, my master, Lord Lucifer." Lucifer angrily tells her to stop getting ahead of herself. Facing her master's wrath, Mary's face fills with pure terror. Lucifer wearily covers his face. "This body isn't ready yet. Look at this. Is this the result you wanted? According to Lucifer, Sakya still can't handle his power. If Mary hands him the god-slaying blade, it will only end up killing him. And if that happens, Lucifer will vanish as well. Mary stands there in shock, unable to comprehend what she did wrong. But Lucifer can only warn her to stay away from Sakya. He promises to help Sakya awaken quickly, though whether the boy can handle the power remains to be seen. With that, Lucifer loses consciousness, sending Mary into a panic. She deeply regrets being too impatient and putting Lucifer in danger. Don't worry, Lord Lucifer. Before he truly awakens, I will protect him from the shadows. I won't let anyone find him. As for everything around them, Mary simply snaps her fingers and it all vanishes as if it never existed in this world. Before disintegrating, Elder Zu fearfully mutters, "That monster, with the demonic blade." Night falls at Sakya's house. Heavily injured, his body groans in pain. Meanwhile, Lucifer fumes. This mortal body is absolute trash. Wake up already. Suddenly, a flash of light hits, and his soul separates from his body, drifting away with a somber look in his eyes. What's going on? Standing in a vast, empty space, Sakya touches his body. Huh? My injuries are gone. Is this another dream? Out of nowhere, a blade flies right behind him. This is your subconscious space. A dark, menacing aura surrounds him, swelling like a red-eyed phantom. Since you're unconscious, I had no choice but to summon you here, the entity says, scaring Sakya out of his wits. A demonic blade? A demon god? This has got to be a dream. Wake up, Sakya, wake up. But the dark aura furiously lunges right at him. What is a dream, and what is reality? Suddenly, it slammed its fist straight into the ground, sparking a blinding flash of light. Is this it? Shijia muttered, pointing his finger at the glass panel in front of him. Wait, are these projection screens? He leaned in close to get a better look. Whoa. Then Anshi's voice echoed once again. And over here. A glimpse of a world fading away. Shijia stared at the screen ahead, completely stunned. Anshi spoke in a cold, monotone voice. The vast universe is constantly shifting and evolving. What you consider real can change in the blink of an eye. Its eyes glowed a fierce crimson as if to drive the point home. The true foundation of the universe is the elements. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet split wide open. Panic surged through him as he plummeted into the abyss, only to halt abruptly just as he was about to crash into another surface. I stopped. Staring into a blinding flash of light, he could only gasp out, "Huh? What is this?" Several ribbons of colored light swirled above him. Anshi's voice echoed through the space. Everything in existence is made of elements. A stream of water danced around him. The water element binds matter together, symbolizing nourishment and preservation. Next, a roaring flame rushed toward him. The fire element represents absolute energy, forging the balance of hot and cold. Then, a fierce gust of wind swept over them, carrying a cluster of floating boulders. The wind element represents transformation, driving, and sustaining life, while the earth element represents stability, giving all things a place to belong. He stood there, completely overwhelmed by everything happening around him, when the mysterious voice spoke with absolute certainty. No matter how much the world changes, the elements and their power remain eternal. Learn to control them, and everything in existence will bend to your will. Shijia looked at the elemental forces around him. They weren't just simple earth, water, fire, and wind. It felt incredibly bizarre. They weren't those physical things, yet they were the very essence of them. Back in the real world, he coughed violently as he lay in bed, spitting up blood. But in his mindscape, it felt like something was ruthlessly hammering against his chest. Shijia cried out in agony, "Ugh, it hurts so much." Anshi scoffed at his fragile body. "Your weak vessel is failing. If your physical body is destroyed, your subconscious realm will collapse as well." He collapsed, completely drained. Am I really going to die?" He forced the words out. "No, I don't want to die yet." Anshi looked down at him, completely indifferent. Save me, pathetic human," the voice sneered. With a wave of its hand, it unleashed a blast of water element straight ahead. Terrified, Shijia gasped, What is this? What are you doing to me?" Glowing sigils began to swirl around Shijia, leaving him in absolute awe of his own body. The pain. It's gone. He stared at his hand, which was wrapped in mystical sigils, as all the water pooled right beside his palm. What on earth are these runes? Suddenly, a massive magic circle materialized before him, and Anchi finally took on a solid, complete form. This is the ancient book of elemental synthesis. He strained his eyes to listen, but the figure remained shrouded in shadow. It will help you absorb the surrounding water element to stabilize your injuries. Fearing the entity would disappear, Shijia cried out. Wait! The figure instantly dashed behind him. Commit this magic circle to memory, and do your best to stay alive. Shijia lay exhausted on his bed as the entity's monotone voice echoed in his head. Learn to control them, and everything in existence will bend to your will. He stared blankly at the ceiling, his mind spinning from everything that had just transpired. Ugh, my head is splitting. Suddenly, a loud shout broke through the door. So this is it. The punk's place is right here. He gasped. What? Someone's here. The sound of heavy kicking and lock snapping rattled the front door. Listen up, boys. Once we kick this door down, move fast and clean. Another thug chimed in cautiously. Lord Huo, the kid's supposed to be an Esper. You might want to be a bit careful. Inside, Shijia overheard every word. His heart sank. Not the Green Wolf Gang again. I can't fight them off, and I have nowhere left to run. Lord Huo snapped back, annoyed. What are you scared of? Get in there. Find the demon blade and trash the kid. He barked orders to his lackeys. You two, hit the bedroom. Hurry the hell up. But the thugs couldn't find anything. Nothing here, boss. Clear on this side, too. As Shijia tried to slip out through the window, one of the thugs spotted him. Hey, the kid's out here. He's got the blade, too. Shijia grit his teeth, feeling the icy grip of death closing in on him. Grabbing an alarm clock, he hurled it backward with all his might. Eat this, you bastards! Without hesitation, he leaped out of the window. Ow, son of a... The thug yelped as the clock smacked him in the head. Is that crazy brat trying to commit suicide? Lord Huo cracked his knuckles, sneering. Out of my way. He unleashed his hellfire fist, summoning a massive, flaming hand that blasted forward. The destructive strike caused a violent explosion that shook the entire building. Coughing through the thick smoke, the lackeys stammered. Cough, Lord Huo. You didn't just vaporize him, did you? There's absolutely nothing left of him. One of them pointed at the scorched edge. Look, Lord Huo. We're on the top floor. Even if the fire didn't get him, that fall definitely finished him off. Lord Huo chuckled in self-satisfaction. Yeah, that punch had some decent weight behind it, but as he glanced out over the ledge, his eyes narrowed. Damn it, he cursed in fury before barking at his men. He's up on the rooftop. After him. Now, up on the sprawling rooftop, Shijia collapsed onto the cold concrete, gasping heavily for air. The Green Wolf Gang is completely out of control. He shuddered, recalling that devastating fire punch. Is that guy even human? Right then, a chilling voice echoed back. Whether I'm human or not. Wouldn't you like to find out? Startled, he spun toward the sound. Huojia sneered mockingly. Well, look who has a tough life. Kid Shaka. Terrified, Shaka yelled back to negotiate. Stay back, we can talk this over. You guys just want money, not my life, right? Huojia smirked. I couldn't care less about money. What I'm interested in is you. He backed away, stuttering, B-boss. Let's just talk this through calmly. His face went completely pale as he clutched the demonic blade. Come any closer and I won't be nice. Seeing the weapon right in front of him, Huojia's eyes lit up. Oh ho, he marveled at the powerful weapon. So this is the demonic blade. Incredible. Shaka broke into a cold sweat. Demonic blade? Come on, boss. This is just a game reward, even if it was first prize. Tuning out his words completely, Huojia swung his fist again. Infernal fist. Cut the crap. The punch instantly blasted Shaka yards away. His body slammed into the metal stairs behind him. That hurts. The flames from the punch set his shirt on fire. I'm burning. Luckily, he spotted a way out. A water tank. Water. Thank God. Huojia advanced on him step by step. Kid, if you don't show me what you've got, you're dead. He sent waves of fire chasing after him, adding, Soon enough, I'll show you the true power of that demonic blade. Ahaha! Shaka scrambled up the ladder in panic. Wait, just a second. He plunged into the water tank just before the flames could engulf him. From below, Huojia sneered. Can't even take one hit. His underlings pointed at the tank. Boss, that kid fell into the water. He laughed disdainfully, giving Shaka no way out. Retrieve the blade. As for the kid, do whatever you want with him. The lackeys chorused. Yes, boss. Inside, Shaka choked on the water. Cough, cough. That was close. They stood on the rim of the tank. Hey, hey, kid, hand over the blade. The chase had been too easy for Huojia, prompting him to sigh. How boring. The lackeys kept cheering, stab him to death. Ha ha ha. Shaka helplessly sank deeper, the demonic blade drifting down beside him. Fighting to hold on to his last thread of consciousness, he thought, I'm suffocating. I don't want to die. That familiar voice echoed once more. Do you want to live? Then imprint this magic circle into your mind. He weakly opened his eyes. The magic circle, the very one from his dreams, manifested. This was the ancient text of the constituent art. Lord Lucifer channeled raw power directly into Shaka's body. The Lord's sigil materialized on his skin. That surge of power snapped him wide awake. Calmly pointing at a water bubble, he traced a few lines in the water from left to right, top to bottom, finishing with a swift horizontal slash to form a perfect sphere. It glowed in tandem with the sigil on his body. Following his movements, the water in the tank swirled violently into a raging vortex. His eyes shone crystal clear, his previous weakness entirely gone. Outside, seeing no more movement, the lackeys reported to Huojia, "Boss, the kid is probably finished." He barked, "Who cares about him? Just get down there and pull that demonic blade out." Suddenly, the ground began to shake. One of them panicked. "Huh? What's happening? Is this an earthquake?" Ripples surged as the water tank vibrated violently. They stared in confusion. "Heads up, that sound is coming from inside the tank. Could he still be alive?" What? Before he could finish his sentence, a hand made of water snatched him away. Eyes wide with sheer terror, the thug was pulled straight into the heart of the swirling vortex. Watching this unfold, another gasped, "What is that?" Terrified screams for help quickly followed. "Whoa, boss! Oh God, help me, boss!" Huojia grew even more excited. "Ha ha ha, now this is getting interesting." Inside the tank, a massive sphere of water materialized and shot straight into the sky. From below, Huojia provoked him. "Come at me. You think I'm scared of you?" Immediately, their techniques clashed as water collided violently with fire. Huojia groaned under the overwhelming pressure. The raw power pressing down on him was too much. Huojia cursed. Holy crap, he couldn't believe this strength was coming from Shaka. No way. His infernal fist had been utterly defeated. Taking a direct hit from the water torrent, he was blasted back yards away, drenched in sweat. Panic seeped into his mind. Is this a joke? How the hell is this guy so strong? Huojia sat there like a defeated loser, his henchmen crowding around him. Even Shaka couldn't believe this newfound power as he stared down at his own hands. Down below, the lackeys saw him standing tall. "Look, that kid is still standing." His voice grew dark. "You wanted to see what I've got?" He taunted them further. "Then get off the ground and come get some." With a wave of his hand, torrents of water split and shot into the sky. They merged into a colossal hand of water. With a piercing glare, he yelled, "You absolute scumbags!" With every water punch he threw, he drove his point home. Weren't your fire fists supposed to be badass? Is the Green Wolf Gang really that big of a deal in the underworld? You trash dared to wreck my house? Let me show you what it feels like to have your plans ruined. Unleashing his power, he continuously taunts his enemy. "Bring it on, try me again. The tables are turned." Huojia, with his face beaten black and blue, begs for mercy. Wait, boss. Please, spare my life." Tik-Ka bellows. Lushan, rising dragon strike. But suddenly, the water stops obeying him and splashes all over his face. Tik-Ka is completely bewildered. What is going on? Am I out of power? He clenches his fist in silent anger. But I don't have time to draw it again. What do I do? Seeing him standing there frozen, Huojia is secretly thrilled. Heaven is on my side, he sneers triumphantly. It looks like this brat hasn't mastered his power yet. Once again, he unleashes his hellfire fist. He angrily curses, "Damn it, here it comes again, you dirty bastard." The head-on flames hit him, making him groan in agony. Raging flames engulf his body. It's too hot, way too hot. Having no choice, he dives back into the water tank, but Huojia keeps pressing the attack. What do you think happens when water meets fire? Submerged in the water tank, he opens his eyes, sensing everything around him. Bubbles rise continuously inside the tank. The water temperature is suddenly rising. Outside, Huojia continuously blasts the tank with fire. "Ha ha ha, I am going to boil you alive." Unable to withstand the extreme heat, the tank springs a leak. He suddenly looks closer to find that the tank is now riddled with massive holes, spraying water everywhere. Covered in flames, Hoa runs to avoid the surging water. Thui Man suddenly appears above him. Well, well, the lightning-wreathed man chuckles mockingly. And you still missed. The water tank finally explodes into 100 pieces, and the powerful blast blows away all of Hoa lackeys, sending them plummeting off the rooftop. Tichka is no exception either. Finding himself free-falling through the air, he opens his eyes in sheer panic. Whoa! Thui Man appears like a savior, swooping in to catch him. He whispers softly in Tichka's ear, "Heh, just in time." With that, he holds Tichka tight. "Brace for landing." Terrified, Tichka stammers, What do you mean landing? What are you going to do?" Thui Man tosses him back onto the rooftop. "Up you go." Next, he targets the remaining lackeys. And these guys too. He grabs them one by one, moving like a flash of lightning, leaving nothing but yellow streaks in his wake. He lands right next to a thug who has passed out from sheer terror. All done. He pushes up his glasses, highly satisfied with his achievement, completely ignoring Tikka and Hoajia's lackeys, throwing up all over the place. With tears streaming down his face, Tichka turns and yells, Who the hell are you?" Thui Man coolly raises his index finger. The captain of the Dragon Clan's Special Ops Squad, Thui Man, looking at Tichka, he raises his voice. "Didn't I tell you to live a good life? Look at the pathetic state you are in right now," he says, pointing at Tichka. Wait a second. Don't tell me you are one of them?" Watching them from afar, Hoajia starts praying to any god who will listen. "Oh man, I am so dead." Thui Man sneers as he looks over at old Hoa. "What a coincidence. I was just looking for you." Tichka is utterly confused. "Wait, you two know each other?" He replies, You could say that." Then he adds, "He is a notorious class 2 wanted criminal in the psychic world, known on the streets as Old Hoa, and to think he actually ran straight to you." Hearing this, Hoajia turns pale. He wheels around, spitting back, "You brat, consider yourself lucky today." Tichka, seizing the upper hand, taunts him. "Hey, don't run if you've got the balls." Dissatisfied, Thui Man dashes forward. "Stay put. Let me deal with this guy first." Tichche is completely dumbfounded. Is that speed even human? Meanwhile, old Hoa spots a door ahead and tries to make a break for it. But Thui Man blocks him in an instant. "Where do you think you're going?" Angrily, old Hoa curses, prepping his hellfire fist. "Too fast! Damn you, I will take you down with me." Before he can even strike, Thui Man kicks him right in the face, sending him flying with snot and tears bursting out. He condenses an electrical orb in his hand, waiting for him to fall so he can deliver another beatdown. He looks up at him coldly. "What was that? Did you say the wind was too loud?" With that, he blasts him head-on with the electrical orb, making him scream in agony. He is blasted 10 meters away, triggering a massive explosion. Meanwhile, Thui Man remains completely nonchalant, muttering, "I couldn't hear you." Tichka watches wide-eyed. Whoa, this is a total one-sided beatdown. Hoajia struggles to push himself up, coughing up blood. "Damn it." Gritting his teeth in fury, he growls, "There is no way I am going down in a place like this." Tichca is shocked, never expecting him to stand back up. He charges straight at Thui Man, roaring, "I will kill you." Prepared to counter, Thui Man says, "Still want to try your luck?" But to his surprise, Hoajia zips right past him. "Even if I die, I'm taking you down with me." Thui Man spins around in shock. "What?" Enveloped in roaring flames, his target is now Tichka, and he is charging straight at him. Bracing himself, Tichka calls out his skill, Ancient Scroll of Elemental Synthesis. Water swirls around him from out of nowhere. "Please, work." Closing his eyes tight, he prays, "Please, work." In an instant, Hoajia freezes in his tracks. His prayer actually worked. A massive water bubble forms around him, trapping him inside as he frantically struggles. What? What the hell is this? In desperation, he blasts fire against the water wall, but his own fire rebels, backfiring on him as he screams in agony. How is this possible? The fire, it is burning me. It is too hot. No, stop. Totally exhausted, he collapses. Shika lets out a huge sigh of relief. Phew, I actually did it. The water bubble pops, and the guy hits the ground hard, knocked out cold. Gasping for air, Shika falls to his knees, utterly spent. It is, finally over. Rui Man looks down at him and scoffs. Guess I did not even need to step in. What is the matter? Can you not even stand up anymore? Shika forces out a weak question. Those people, and you, What on earth are you guys? But before he can get an answer, his vision goes dark and he faints. Ruman clicks his tongue. How rude. He pulls out his phone and makes a call. Yeah, it is me. Building number 7. The rooftop. Come clean up the mess. Down below Shika's apartment. In a crowded complex, Taozi is the only one standing there, looking around anxiously. Is this really Shika's place? She thinks back to earlier, when Shika, looking effortlessly handsome, handed her his jacket. Take this to protect yourself. It is good for keeping out the wind if you do not mind wearing it. Just thinking about him makes her blush. He is clearly taking up all the space in her heart right now. I have washed it clean. I have to return it to him in person. Suddenly, a massive gust of wind sweeps by, kicking up a thick cloud of dust. It is a plane flying overhead, causing Daozi's hair to blow wildly in the breeze. Taozi instinctively looks up. Meanwhile, over at a busy food street in S City, Shika is in uniform, working his part-time job. Special discount on our new items. Come grab yours, do not miss out. He shouts until his throat is dry, then mutters to himself. That is weird. Why is it so empty today? Actually, there was not a single soul here from the start. Suddenly, a strange sound echoes as a group of men from the Huo clan marches straight toward him. We have run ourselves ragged looking for you, kid, their leader sneers menacingly. You are not running away this time. Today we settle all scores, old and new. Terrified, Shika stumbles backward. You guys, were you not already? How is this possible? Suddenly, streaks of crimson lightning rip across the sky, and blood-red rain starts pouring down on him. His eyes widen in sheer confusion. My eyes are not playing tricks on me. Why is the rain red? Suddenly, Shika feels the weight of a demonic blade in his hand. His uniform is gone. He stares down at the demonic blade. What is this? He asks himself, this black blade. When did I even grab it? Suddenly, a massive bolt of lightning strikes the blade. Whoa. He loses his footing and plunges into a bottomless pit. Shika jolts awake, panting. It was all just a dream, but his hands suddenly clench up. No, stay back. Ah. He gasps heavily. Phew. Phew. Dazed and disoriented, he clutches his head. Was that really just a dream? He tries to move, but his bones let out a painful cracking sound. He clutches his aching body. Ugh, everything hurts so much. His expression darkens as he growls. Damn it. Where the hell am I? Across from him, Ruman watches the whole thing and asks smugly, Oh, look who is finally awake. Shika stares at him in sheer disbelief. Countless questions race through his mind. Wait, am I dead? No way. Am I not the main character of this story? Ruiman winks and replies, To be precise, you are on a plane, 30,000 meters above the ground. Tears stream down Shika's face. A plane? So that means, I am still alive. But wait, why on earth am I on a plane? Do not tell me you guys kidnapped me. Ruiman turns around in his chair, completely speechless. Ha, what are you, a stand-up comedian? He adjusts his glasses, lets out a devious grin, and rolls his chair right up to Shika's face. Ha. Ruiman stops just inches from Shika's face, making him break out in a cold sweat. Listen to me very carefully. Shika. He points to himself proudly. Yours truly belongs to the Dragon Division, in charge of all scions in S City. In stark contrast to his dramatic introduction, Shika pouts, totally unconvinced. Man, you have been reading way too many high school manga, bro. Ruiman rolls back and points directly at him. I have been keeping tabs on you for a long time, kid. Hearing this, Shika instinctively covers himself. Wait, why are you stalking me? What do you want from me? Ruiman's tone turns serious. Whether you want to admit it or not, I am sure you have already felt it. There is a massive, hidden power dormant inside your body. Hearing this, Shika freezes. A cold sweat breaks out as he trembles. Oh no, does he know about Xiaohei? Ruiman continues. That power is incredibly dangerous. We need to investigate it immediately and keep it under wraps. Shika panics, waving his hands. Whoa, hold on a second. Ruiman raises his index finger. Oh, right, there is one more thing you might want to know. Shika grimaces anxiously as Ruiman's face turns dead serious. We ran some tests on your body. He looks Shika straight in the eye. There is a bullet lodged right in your heart. To put it simply, you are on the verge of dying. Shika immediately snaps back. Hey, are you kidding me? But then, a sudden memory flashes in his mind. Wait, memories flood back to him, accompanied by Lucifer's echoing voice. A mortal's vessel is truly pathetic. Your fragile body is on the brink of collapse. He stands there, completely dazed. What? What is this? It was not just a nightmare. Am I really going to die? With a sharp snap of his fingers, Ruimon speaks with authority, and that is why we are heading to a very specific place right now. Once we identify your spiritual energy, we'll definitely find a way to save your life. He grit his teeth. What if? What if by some slim chance I'm not a spiritualist like you said? Ruimon clicked his tongue. Well, that depends on your situation. I'm afraid your corpse would have gone cold long ago. With that, he looked down at his watch. Huh? The watch displayed their position and immediately announced, entering target area. Proceed with coordinate adjustment? Leaning back in his chair with glee, he said, we're almost there. Prepare for landing. Sheik looked out the plane window. Pale-faced, he couldn't believe his eyes. What is this? The plane was flying toward an isolated island in the middle of the ocean. Where on earth are we? Zaid shoved his hands into his pockets. An announcement from the plane blurted out, entry clearance is ready. He reached up to take off his necklace, just in case, then slipped it into his pocket. Whoa, what's happening? The plane's voice announced again, coordinates adjusted. Accessing the magnetic field. The turbulence from the plane made him lose his footing, tilting his face 45 degrees. Ah, Ruimon spotted him in a flash. He lunged forward to catch him as if catching a falling phone, then cheered in relief. Phew, glad it didn't smash. Completely ignoring Saig, who had just wiped out behind him. Ow, Ruimon gleefully snapped a photo. Ha ha ha, you look so goofy, let me take a picture of this. Shij was furious. Just then, Mia barged in from outside. Hey, what are you guys doing? Why is it so noisy? She walked over to Saig. Oh, you must be the guy Ruimon picked up, right? I'm Mia, the mechanic for the Dragon Patrol. He blushed with embarrassment. Oh. Hello. She pinched his cheek. Huh, how strange. I don't feel any spiritual aura from you at all. Disbelieving, she turned to Ruimon. This is weird. Is this really the target you've been monitoring? Are you absolutely sure he's a spiritualist? He immediately asserted. Well, how should I put this? I'm not entirely sure, but when this kid fought old Huo, he used an ability no ordinary human could ever pull off. The two of them gleefully began hatching a plan. So, first we'll take him to the island for a little test. In that case, we'll have to let Qianjin give him a thorough examination when we get there. Ignoring Saij's protests, hey, can you guys stop talking in such a creepy way? Mia's expression turned serious. Lately, there have been more and more criminal cases in the spiritual world. Rumors about the end of the world are spreading like wildfire too. If this keeps up, things are going to get ugly. Ruimon reassured her. You're right. There's an undercurrent in the spiritual world. Some people want to stir up trouble and are waiting for the perfect chance to strike. The Dragon Patrol's mission is to maintain order in the spiritual world. Don't worry. Then, he immediately reverted to his playful self. Besides, I'll protect you, Junior Sis. Furious, she instantly slammed him to the floor. How many times do I have to tell you? Do not call me Junior Sis. He got a brutal beatdown. Seeing this, Shij checked on him. Hey, are you okay? Splayed out on his back, he croaked, cough. No, I'm fine. The plane's speaker began to count down. Landing clearance approved. Counting down to landing. Surprised, he asked. What is this? Ruimon clutched his head as he sat up. Not again. It's like this every single time. As the plane system announced 4, he scrambled to his feet. Quick, get to your seats. She's activated the count mood. Move. The countdown hit 3. Shij thought to himself like a clueless fool. I have no idea what that means, but I've got a really bad feeling about this. Ruimon yelled urgently, Stop dawdling and hurry up. He replied, Coming. The countdown hit 2. Fumbling with his seatbelt, he panicked. Damn it, it won't buckle. From across the cabin, Ruimon snapped, You idiot, buckle up. The countdown reached 1. Got it. Just as Zaigi managed to buckle his seatbelt, the countdown hit 0. The plane's mid-air shaking suddenly stopped, and the countdown ended. The roar of the engines died down completely. Utterly bewildered, Shige wondered, What's going on? An announcement crackled over the speakers. Prepare for landing, everyone. Best of luck. The moment the words left the speaker, the plane pitched nose down toward the sea, plummeting through the air in a free fall. The violent shaking sent loose items flying everywhere inside the cabin. Ruimon let out a thrilled howl. Woohoo! Meanwhile, Shij looked like he was about to die. Down below, the ocean surface parted from the wind pressure, creating a massive circular void. Surrounded by swirling vortexes of wind, the plane plunged straight down. His eyes widened in disbelief. "You call this landing?" The plane slammed into the ocean, sinking deep into the silent, dark waters. Mia commanded over the radio, "Activate the ballast valves." The engine submerged, switching to underwater propulsion, as the two sonar arrays on both sides activated simultaneously to prepare for a deep dive. Sige was foaming at the mouth in agony, while Ruimon sat casually beside him, staring at his watch. The screen displayed 100. Only 100 meters? The plane system announced 200, 500, 1,000. Warning. High external pressure. With a grim look, she ordered the activation of the second carbon fiber nanoshield to dive even deeper. Shige slowly opened his eyes. The real ocean floor was incredibly dark and cold. It wasn't beautiful at all. The plane's computer chimed, indicating the current depth was 1,200 meters. He felt cold, so cold. Come to think of it, what Dowsey said was actually true. Ruman, sitting next to him, glances over and says, "Oh, you're awake?" He reassures Shika, "You really have a knack for passing out." "Well, we're almost there anyway." Mia continues piloting the aircraft. The docking point is ready, preparing for cabin assembly. The aircraft has descended into the deep sea abyss and reached the target coordinates, with Mia ready at the helm. Docking on the starboard side. Beginning assembly. The cabin must be 100% assembled before we can power it up. Ruman tries to snap him out of it. "Hey, snap out of it. The ship will get us there in no time." She announces indifferently, "We've arrived." Shika is exhausted and just wants to give up, but his urge to throw up just won't let him go. He bolts immediately, and Ruman can't catch up in time. "Hey, the exit isn't that way." He ends up throwing up all over a trash can on the floor. Mia is even more skeptical of his strength. He can't even handle this much? How could a guy like him be an Esper? He lets out a sigh of relief. "Ah, that feels way better." Ruman angrily drags him along. "If you're feeling better, then let's go," ignoring his protests of, "Hey, let go of me." The three of them arrive at a vessel. He stares in awe. "So, our destination is actually at the bottom of the ocean? What is this?" Next to him, Ruimon smirks proudly. He chases after Shika. "Hey, don't run off," only to be met with a clueless question, "What is this thing?" As he asks, he reaches out and touches the demon head's skull. The two of them bicker back and forth. "You idiot! What are you pressing random buttons for?" "I was planning to take the shortcut." "Well, I thought it was just a regular statue." The three of them stand in front of the massive skull. Ruimon says helplessly, "Whatever. Since you've already activated the Night Watch gate, let's just do a quick test first." Shika looks up. Is this the gate?" Before he can even finish, the skull suddenly expands into a giant form. Ruimon chimes in to fill him in. "This is the Night Watch gate." He cheerfully instructs him, "Put your hand on it to take the test." He asks back, "Put my hand on it?" Raising his hand, he asks, "Like this?" A mysterious psionic energy begins to radiate from his hand. Shika wonders, What is this? It's a very strange sensation. He can clearly feel these currents of light flowing through his veins and into his body. It feels like they're scanning for something. Behind him, Ruiman explains, "If you're really an Esper, the gate will open for you." Mia begins to believe he actually has power. The Night Watch gate is responding. This kid really is an Esper. But suddenly, something goes wrong, making him gasp. "Arg!" A bright light flashes before his eyes, and the gate slams shut in an instant, the force of the blast sending him flying. Ruimon is completely shocked. "Holy crap!" Wailing in pain, Shika cries out, "Hey, what kind of gate is this? It's clearly an electric shocker." Mia teases him mockingly. "Ha ha ha, he got rejected. Hey, pretty boy, looks like your eyes played tricks on you." Ruimon's face darkens at her words, and he thinks to himself, "That's weird. If he wasn't an Esper, the Night Watch gate would have rejected him from the very start." It definitely reacted back there. The three of them stare helplessly at the gate. Mia volunteers to go first. "How about yours truly gives it a shot?" Shika warns her, "Be careful, that shock hurts like hell." Ruiman walks up to him and says, "The Night Watch gate registers all Espers. Naturally, only a true Esper can make it open." He wants to double check. "So since it shocked me just now, does that mean I'm not an Esper?" Ruimon tries to change the subject. "Hard to say. It looks like you'll need a more thorough evaluation." Confused by the word, he repeats, "An evaluation?" "All set," Mia's voice rings out from the other side. Inside the gate, a brilliant light illuminates the space. Welcome to Evernight Island. She urges them along. Let's go, guys. Shika's eyes go wide. Oh my god. Am I dreaming? Ruimon tells him to hurry up. All right, cut the chatter and let's move. As the three of them pick up their pace, what lies ahead leaves him utterly speechless. Evernight Island looms before him, an entire city built completely upside down. He trembles in utter confusion. An upside-down city at the bottom of the ocean? This has got to be a hallucination. What did you guys feed me back on the plane? Ruiman puts him in his place. That is our destination. Evernight Island. Still standing there in disbelief, he receives looks of disdain from the other two. But it's upside down. How are we even supposed to walk? Mia winks playfully and says, we go up from over there. Following her gaze, there's a huge crowd of people. She adds, it's the only authorized transit on Evernight Island. Shika's voice whimpers from below. Oh god. Are you sure you're not tricking me into riding a roller coaster? Thousands of people are standing in line. The sound of constant chattering fills the air. Shika whispers quietly, are there really this many people living under the ocean? Ruimon replies casually, we're right in the middle of the enrollment season, which only happens once every 3 years. He listens to them talk. It's a massive crowd of foreigners whispering back and forth. His expression turns apprehensive. Enrollment? Wait, is this place a school? An automated voice from the vehicle chimes, please take your seat and do not wander around. As the train is about to depart, Shika approaches a stranger. Phew, finally made it through the line. He sits down next to the two of them. It feels just like a roller coaster, but wait, where are the seatbelts? Suddenly, the vehicle zooms off. Welcome to Evernight Island. The sudden momentum throws him backward, and he reflexively grabs onto the scarf of the old man sitting in front of him. Oh no, the old man can barely breathe, gasping and choking. Ack, ack. Raymond, completely caught off guard, yells, hey, let go of him right now. Mia tries to calm him down. Don't panic, you're not going to fall. Hearing that, he quickly releases his grip, realizing he almost sent the poor old man straight to the afterlife. Raymond explains how the vehicle's automated gravity control cabin works. No matter how we move, you are completely safe. He raises his voice threateningly. So, if you act like a total psycho one more time, I'm throwing you out of here to fly on your own. Shika refuses to back down and snaps back. Excuse me? What did you say? Maybe you should have told me sooner. Their loud bickering catches Simon's attention. His eyes lock onto Shika's silhouette. Who is this guy? Just then, the vehicle does a full 360-degree spin, with Shika inside. The transit line keeps moving, eventually aligning with the upside-down city. Shika gasps. This is absolutely incredible. Driven by curiosity, he switches to the window seat. He suddenly pauses, a clueless thought popping into his head. Wait. Does that mean I'll end up hanging upside down too? Mia answers his curiosity. The core energy of Evernight Island generates a unique gravitational field. It counters Earth's gravity, so you won't feel like you're upside down at all. Shika is still completely amazed. Wow. This core energy is seriously mind-blowing. Raymond, used to all of this, shrugs. The core energy has always been a total mystery. They say only the island master himself has ever laid eyes on it. Shika jumps in surprise. Wait, there's an island master? To build a massive place like this, just how insanely powerful is this guy? Amused by Shika's cluelessness, Raymond teases, ha, that old geezer is definitely not your average human. Far from it. Very far from it. Shika makes a face, thinking, wow, they really have no filter when talking about their own boss. The guy's usually completely out of his mind, not a single normal bone in his body. He's clearly an idiot, yet he thinks he's the greatest thing ever. The island master is honestly just a bizarre weirdo. Overhearing every single word, Mia can't hold back her anger. Hey, the next thing you hear is the sound of the two guys getting brutally beaten up as she yells, shut your mouths, how dare you talk trash about him behind his back. With his face completely swollen, Raymond desperately tries to flatter her. No, that's not what I meant at all. The headmaster's wild and cold nature is simply beyond my comprehension. It's just my own narrow-mindedness, I swear. Shika, also holding his bruised face, speaks up. Headmaster, wait, I have a question. If the headmaster is the island master, what kind of place is Evernight Island exactly? Raymond answers him. This place? It's actually an academy. He adds firmly. An academy that only accepts Espers. Espers, Shika repeats. Raymond continues to explain. Yeah, people with special abilities. Birds of a feather should flock together. The more Shika hears, the more uneasy he gets. But why does it have to be built underwater then? Usually, the only things built deep underwater are prisons. He rests his chin on his hand, thinking to himself. Looking at it this way, this whole academy feels incredibly shady. Ha! Losing his patience, Raymond snaps. Kid, you're like a walking question mark. Why do you ask so many damn questions? Refusing to back down, Shika yells back, Am I wrong? Besides, I still have way more things I need to ask. Sitting in the row behind them, Simon has been listening to their entire conversation, his eyes glowing with a mysterious power. Oh? Who on earth is this guy? Why is he so interesting? He orders the person sitting next to him. Go find out who that black-haired Asian kid is. I want a detailed report on him. It is Diana. She clearly asserts her boundary. My dear prince, I am your sponsor, not your personal maid. Simon plays on her curiosity. Miss Diana, aren't you even a little curious about this year's freshman? Because looking at that guy, I see a strange fog surrounding him. She shows a faint trace of surprise. Oh? A freshman who can actually block the eye of Horus? Simon gives her an annoyed glare, but deep in his eyes, he is hyper-focused on Shika. Whatever is hidden behind that fog is bound to be incredibly entertaining. Diana playfully grips her whip. Is that so? Maybe I should go drag him over here. Seeing this, Simon quickly stops her. Too reckless. The crowd begins to exit as the vehicle's automated announcement chimes. Passengers, please exit the vehicle in an orderly fashion. Raymond's group steps off. Welcome to Evernight Island. Shika can't believe his eyes. Whoa, we really are at the bottom of the ocean. But wait. How is there a blue sky and white clouds down here? Seeing how clueless Shika is, Raymond can't help but give him a heads up. That's just a simulated ecosystem. Come on, this way. As Shika looks around in wonder, he hears Raymond mutter, Great, taking the VIP route again. She definitely doesn't want that old geezer of a headmaster to know she's arrived. Shika realizes, so the island master's daughter gets special privileges after all. Raymond glances at him, a sharp glint flashing in his eyes. More privileges, huh? No problem at all. Waiting in line takes forever. If we are going, we are definitely taking the VIP shortcut. Diana handed Simon a stack of files she had gathered herself. This was all the data on the new students, but he felt something was off. Something was very strange. He continued, That guy isn't a freshman enrolling this year. Flipping the page, he smirked and thought to himself, I have a feeling we'll meet again very soon. The scene shifts to somewhere in the forest. Shiga gave him a deadpan look. What do you mean VIP shortcut? You struggling to hang on that fence is just climbing over the wall. Below them, Rui Man just laughed, telling him to shut up and follow. Shiga cursed in frustration. You dirty liar, Rui Man. With a loud thud, he face-planted onto the ground. Ah! He clutched his head in pain. Ouch, that hurts. He asked, We're climbing the wall. What if we get caught? Won't we get in trouble? Ruman put his index finger to his lips, signaling that since it's a VIP shortcut, they obviously didn't want to get caught. Shh! He felt something was wrong. Don't you think it's a little too quiet around here? With a swift whoosh, he dodged, leaving Shiga tumbling to the ground. Shiga was startled. Whoa, why did you kick me? Right on cue, a bullet grazed past his head. Ruman urgently urged, Don't just stand there, run. Struggling to keep up, tears welled up in his eyes. I almost died. Why did you bring me to this godforsaken place? He didn't seem to care. Shh, they're coming. Shiga was completely clueless. They? A gunman aimed at the two of them, locking onto his targets. Position confirmed. The heavily geared, masked gunmen, their exact numbers unknown, reported their action. They radioed in. Target lost. Search the area thoroughly. Understood. Shige, completely out of his element, panted heavily. Ha, are you sure you brought me here to cure my illness? Turning pale, he continued. This feels more like a death trap. Ruiman stealthily peeked from behind a giant tree to observe them. Feeling safe for a moment, he slumped down and sighed. Don't worry, this is a restricted area. Since outsiders aren't allowed, their reaction is just a little extreme. Unable to believe his ears, Shiga stammered. Restricted? Ruman cautiously warned. Shh, keep your voice down. Squatting behind the bushes, the two of them scanned the area. Annoyed, his voice remained steady as he pointed out. At 11 o'clock, there are at least 2 people. At 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, there should be some too. Ruman generously praised him. Oh, perfect 2020 vision, huh? Only now did he brag. You kidding? I'm the top rank in PUBG. He didn't forget to tease him. Haha, I totally forgot you're always the runner-up. Instructor Keeban, standing on top of the building, shouted, "Intruders." Smirking behind her binoculars, she sneered, "You can't escape. Just surrender." Footsteps rushed toward them as the gunman signaled, "We've spotted them. Capture them immediately." Seeing them run over, Shiga panicked. "They're coming this way. Holy crap. Are those real guns? Can we please fall back?" Ruman, exasperated by his cowardice, said, "What good is retreating now? There's a sniper on the rooftop. Climbing back over the wall is basically giving away our position. What are you trying to do?" He looked over in surprise as Shija took off his white shirt to use as a white flag. At times like this, survival comes first. Even Ruiman couldn't believe it and held his head before snapping back into combat mode. No need for that. Against this level of opponents, with a quick dash, I can take them down in 3 seconds. Leaving Shiga still struggling to get his shirt off, the enemies on this side aimed, locked and loaded, ready to pull the trigger in a split second. 1. Ruiman snatched a gun right out of a guard's hands. 2. He punched another guy right in the jaw. Leaping into the air, he prepared to kick. Before his opponent could even react, he took a solid foot to the face. 3. He kicked him yards away, leaving no one else to stand in his way. From above, the instructor barked another order, "Team B, advance." They immediately responded, "Yes, ma'am," and aimed all their guns at Ruiman. He instinctively glanced over. Huh? Like a flash of lightning, he slipped past the barrage of bullets. Ha! You think this is enough to stop me? He kept running, outracing the flying bullets. A flash of light zipped past, leaving one gunman dumbfounded. He and his comrade stared blankly ahead. Where did he go? In an instant, he was already standing behind them. "Hello there." He smirked, locking his gaze on the 2 guards right in front of him. Shiga trembled behind the bushes, watching them as they frantically barked orders to each other. "He's here. Shoot him. Shoot him now." He backed away behind a tree trunk, praying he wouldn't get caught in the crossfire, realizing with sheer terror that he definitely preferred the video game version. Holy crap, I've played PUBG tons of times, but this is the real deal. He peeked his head out, wondering, wait, why did the gunfire stop? Standing right in front of him was Ruiman, wiping his brow with a sigh of relief. Phew, that was a piece of cake. At his feet lay the beaten guards. Shigo watched in sheer awe. Incredible! He took down all of them by himself. Then, a sudden realization hit him. Wait, didn't he say there's a sniper on the roof? Climbing the wall is basically giving away our position. Before he could even finish his thought, he dashed out like a speeding bullet, not forgetting to warn him to be careful. Up on the rooftop, Ruiman stood out in the open, frowning as if he had just spotted something. Bang! A bullet flew right at him, knocking him backward. Shigia rushed over in a panic to help, shouting, "Ruiman!" He seemed completely unconscious, no matter how hard Shigia screamed. "Damn it, don't you die on me." Meanwhile, a sniper confidently reported, "Target hit." But the master wondered, huh? She had to look through her binoculars to double-check. Knowing her opponent all too well, she snapped at the sniper, "You idiot, it won't be that easy." She ordered, "Reconfirm the target." The sniper peered back through his scope. He was shocked to find that there was no one there anymore. That kid was gone. In reality, just a few seconds earlier, Shigia had warned him to watch out for snipers. He had already figured out the bullet's trajectory. That was close. He leaned backward, letting the bullet graze past him and out of his line of sight. Using the momentum, he faked a dramatic fall, acting like a pro, and lay on the ground with a smirk. And back to the present. The sniper could no longer see him anywhere. "Target lost," Master Kaban snapped. "Then find him, hurry." He quickly replied, Yes, ma'am." Aiming from the roof down to the ground, there was absolutely no one in sight. Damn it, where on earth did he go? I clearly hit him. Suddenly, Ruiman popped up right in his crosshairs. The sniper gasped. "Found him. Yo." He waved at him like an old friend. Along with that cheeky grin, he was already holding a grenade. Chuckling, he tossed the grenade into the air. "A little gift." He kicked the grenade with his foot. He sent the grenade flying straight toward the master. "No way." Startled, she barked, "Shoot it, quickly." The sniper replied, "Understood." He fired a supersonic bullet. The grenade and the bullet clashed in midair. Boom! The massive explosion sent both the master and the sniper flying backward. Ruiman watched the chaos and snickered to himself. Up above, only a thick cloud of white smoke remained, accompanied by coughing. Cough, cough, damn it, it's tear gas. An amused spark flashed in his eyes. Just then, something came plummeting down from above. Not bad. Master Kaban leapt down, dripping with murderous intent. Her hand crackled with lightning as she formed a fist. Got you now, Ruiman, he taunted her. Show me some new tricks. She gritted her teeth in fury. This time, she slammed her fists together to unleash her ultimate move. Take this, lightning gauntlets. Her hair stood completely on end. A massive surge of energy shot straight toward Ruiman. He didn't hesitate to counter, slamming his hands onto the ground to release arcs of lightning of his own. Smiling with burning determination, he utilized his supersonic speed to flip and dodge every single strike from her lightning gauntlets. Ruiman lunged forward. Ha ha, I'm still faster. Master Kaban growled in anger. You brat. She charged as well. You dare to face me head on. As they were about to clash, she unleashed a blinding beam of light. Too bad for her, he was already soaring right above her head. Then he dropped down, focusing all of his strength into his leg. The master blocked his strike with her gauntlets, praising him with a smile. Kid, your speed has improved again. He humbly replied. I'm still no match for you, Master Kaban. Shijia had been watching the whole time, stuttering. Is this really a fight? Standing before her, Ruiman asked. So, how about we call it a draw, Master Kaban? He stammered in shock. Master? In the blink of an eye, Kaban's attitude flipped as she lunged forward. I missed you so much, you little trespasser. She hugged Ruiman so hard he literally spat out blood. Let's share a passionate hug. Wincing in pain as his eyes rolled back, he wheezed. Let go of me. Shijia went pale, watching Ruiman get crushed. I think he's actually dying. Did she just realize that? She pushed Ruiman away and laughed out loud. A draw? I'm definitely not satisfied with that. Next time, I'm definitely catching this restricted area intruder. She ordered her subordinates. Hey, stop playing dead. Shijia, feeling completely played, stammered. Wait, you guys. So, all of that just now was fake? The master replied solemnly. Of course not. Ruiman explained. This is the island's restricted zone. It's heavily guarded. The riot control weapons are non-lethal taser guns, but that long-range sniper rifle is a Barrett M95 loaded with live ammo. The master enthusiastically agreed. Yep, Shijia was the only one shocked by this. So I was almost killed just now. She pointed straight at him. Ha, exactly. Hey, Ruiman, who is this kid anyway? Ruiman teased. You're the only one here who doesn't know. He leaned in and whispered directly into the master's ear, leaving Shijia extremely annoyed. He visualized a confusing mess of math formulas in his head. What on earth are they talking about? Master Kaban burst out laughing. So that's how it is. Ha. Eager to take him under her wing, she asked, Hey kid, do you want to come to Evernight Island and become a real Esper? I'll train you well. Surprised, he asked, Can I really do it? The three of them walked into the medical department hallway, heading toward the testing room. Shijia and Kaban laughed and chatted like they'd been close teacher and student for years. Do I really have a chance to get superpowers? Of course. We just have to wait for the test results. Is your superpower lightning, Master Kaban? That is so cool. Ha. You sure have good taste, he asked curiously. Speaking of which, are there any weird superpowers? Kaban replied, Well, that depends on which aspect you're talking about. Chige stared blankly at what was in front of him. Wait, we're already here? But I haven't even asked my questions yet. Annoyed, Ruiman raised his leg and kicked him right in the back. Cut it out with the endless questions and just go get your exam done. He let out a painful cry as he was sent flying forward. With that, he slammed the door shut, leaving Chige all alone. But I don't even know what I'm supposed to be testing for, Chige muttered in suspicion. He couldn't help but feel that this entire place was a bit sketchy. Standing alone in the middle of a completely empty lab, Kaig shouted, Hello, is anyone here? I'm here for my exam. Suddenly, a floating orb appeared out of nowhere. Lie down, it commanded, scaring him half to death. Whoa, what is that thing? But once he calmed down, he couldn't help but admire it. Wow, this is incredibly high-tech. He sat on the X-ray machine, only needing to lie down. Was it going to take a scan? The orb announced. No records found. You are not a student of Evernight Island. Chige timidly replied, No. I'm not. Ruiman brought me here, he said. Before Chige could even finish his sentence, the orb ordered, lie still, creating a new profile. Booting up. The orb scanned his body one step at a time. Oh, aortic rupture detected. However, vital signs appear normal. Unidentified energy detected near the heart. Spiritual energy signature is faint. Hearing vital signs, Chige immediately jumped in panic. Do not move, the orb commanded, preparing for spiritual energy analysis. Behind the screen, Tianjin repeatedly tried to input commands, but they all failed. Analysis error. Restarting. Analysis failed again. Unable to scan the patient's spiritual energy, she found it incredibly strange. As the room suddenly fell dead silent, Kige asked in confusion, "Huh? Why did it go quiet all of a sudden?" Tianjin slowly replied, "Your destroyed heart has been wrapped in an incredibly powerful surge of spiritual energy, keeping you from dying. However, your spiritual energy level is 0. This makes absolutely no scientific sense." A mysterious aura radiated from Tianjin as she looked at him with deep suspicion. What on earth happened to you?" Completely bewildered, he stammered, "What? How did someone just pop out of nowhere without making a single sound?" Still skeptical, he asked again, "Wait a second, are you even human?" Tianjin's face darkened as she glared at him. She introduced herself through the orb. "I am the chief of the medical department, Tianjin." Chige trembled at his diagnosis. "Wait, chief? So you're the doctor? I'm sorry, but I didn't quite catch what you said earlier. Could you please explain it to me in more detail?" "To put it simply, you're being protected by a very special power." Then she delivered the final blow. "Once it dissipates, you're dead." He burst into tears, begging, "What? Doctor, then what am I supposed to do now?" Tianjin indifferently handed him a body donation form and requested, "You can start by signing this body donation agreement." Completely helpless about his own life, he screamed at the top of his lungs, "Are you kidding me? You can't just play around with someone's life like this." Clutching the form in his hands, he complained, "How can you just tell someone to give up on living like it's nothing?" He read down to the very last line, "Recommended treatment, body donation." He protested, "At least try to treat me first." But Tianjin brushed him off. "My diagnosis is crystal clear." Hearing her words, he thought to himself, spiritual energy value of 0, and unidentified energy detected. Could that underworld bastard be behind this? Tianjin heartlessly advised him, "Stop struggling." Ignoring his sheer panic, she demanded, "Just sign here and dedicate your body to science." He threw the paper away. "No way. I am not signing that. I've always been perfectly healthy before this," Tianjin explained with a sigh. "From a medical standpoint, you are nothing but a corpse that hasn't realized it's dead yet," he retorted. "I feel completely fine. I can still be saved. Look." But the moment the words left his mouth, he began coughing up blood. Cough, cough, cough. Shaking like a leaf, he tried to play it cool. In short, I'm not buying this ridiculous diagnosis." Tianjin frowned in annoyance and pursed her lips. Taking advantage of the situation, he teased, "Besides, you look like a total minor. All right, stop playing house as the chief and get me a real doctor." The second he finished speaking, a test tube came flying right at him. Annoyed by his attitude, she snapped, "I am your primary attending physician. But if you don't believe me, that's fine." She added spitefully, "Have it your way. Go ahead and keep living as a walking corpse." Making sure he understood he had no other option, she warned, "The moment you leave Evernight Island, that energy will eventually fade away due to a lack of spiritual energy." Chige gasped in shock. "What?" Tianjin's face darkened with a greedy look. "Your body will be mine sooner or later." Suddenly, a loud commotion echoed from the hallway. "Huh? Spiritual energy value of 0? The medical department's recommendation is body donation?" Instructor Cabone looked at the results in frustration. "Man, they even got the donation agreement ready for you. Looks like you've got one foot in the grave." Kiga tried to chime in, actually I want," but his name was cut off by a sudden shout. "Chige!" He looked toward the voice. "Ruiman, where are you going?" Ruiman informed him grimly, "I just got word from Mia. There's a sudden incident in S City." The instructor's eyes widened. "Is it serious?" He frowned and said, "Rank A." The master rested her chin on her hand and murmured, "Well, that's going to be a real tough nut to crack then." Meanwhile, Shakya's mind was racing with questions. "So, what should we do?" Ruiman didn't beat around the bush and said, "Long story short, We need to return to the dragon sect immediately to deal with the situation, and then we'll give you an update. Given your current situation, I will be taking you to the dragon sect to undergo strict supervision." He gritted his teeth and insisted, "Wait a minute, Ruiman. I want to stay here." Gasps of surprise echoed through the spacious room. Ruiman stood facing Shakya, asking in confusion, "You're saying you want to stay on Evernight Island? And what's your reason?" Shakya huffed. "You keep dragging me back and forth like I'm a piece of luggage." This left Ruman even more dumbfounded. He furrowed his brows and asked again, "Huh?" Shakya fell silent, looking deeply lost in thought. "Isn't it great here? Besides," he thought to himself, if he left Evernight Island, he would likely end up dead. Ruiman immediately thought Shakya was joking and snapped, "Quit fooling around. Your spiritual energy level is literally 0. The master's eyes went wide as well. So? He tried to reason with them. "Back on the rooftop, I clearly showed I had powers. Didn't I? The test only says I don't have spiritual energy right now, but it doesn't prove I don't have any potential, does it?" Ruiman found his argument quite reasonable, saying, "Let me think about it. Fine. I won't force you to come with me this time." Hearing this, Shakya was thrilled. "That's right." Ruiman then raised his index finger to state his condition. "But if you want to stay on Evernight Island, you'll have to earn your admission on your own merit." Kaban rubbed her chin, recalling past events that included bomb explosions and massive tsunamis. The entrance exam for Evernight Island is absolutely brutal and extremely strict. She sugarcoated her words so she wouldn't crush Shakya's morale, though the vivid memory of countless people fleeing from giant boulders falling from the sky still lingered in her mind. She sighed helplessly and rubbed her temples. "Even if you show some traits of a spiritualist, you still won't pass if your energy value is 0. Shakya countered, "That's not necessarily true. Either way, I'm ready to give it a shot." Both of them stared intently at him. He smiled confidently and declared, "With this kind of impossible stuff, if you don't even try," he continued, "how will you ever know?" They were quite intrigued by his bold attitude. Oh? The academy campus on Evernight Island was massive, filled with buildings of all kinds of architectural styles. Kaban skipped along happily, humming, "La la la, off to register." Meanwhile, Shakya walked beside her, unusually quiet. He slowly fell behind and let out a quiet sigh, wondering if he had gotten a bit too hot-headed back there. Just a moment ago, he had stood in front of those two and declared confidently, "I'll earn my admission on my own merit to stay on Evernight Island." But then, Shakya had asked, "Wait, what if I fail?" Ruman replied, "Then I'll drag you straight to the dragon sect for some strict supervision." He gasped in shock. "Wait, you'll do what?" But Ruiman cheerfully raised his hand, gesturing, "High five." Ruiman slapped Shakya's hand hard, stinging him with pain. "And that's a deal." He walked away, waving his hand over his shoulder. "So, I wish you the best of luck." Shakya blew on his hand with tears in his eyes. "Ow, ow, ow, that hurts." Clutching his smoking palm, he still tried to act tough. "Don't you worry. The word defeat simply doesn't exist in my dictionary." Kaban's eyes turned into stars as she gasped, "Wow, talk about super confident." Back to reality, Kaban's cheerful singing echoed all along the path. "La la la, off to register we go, off to register." Shakya shoved his hands into his pockets and asked, "Master Kaban, you seem to be in an exceptionally good mood, huh?" She immediately beamed, "Well, of course I am." She smiled with satisfaction. "A master like me highly appreciates that strong determination you showed earlier." He turned pale, feeling a sudden stab of guilt as he stammered, "Aha, thank you, Master Kaban." In his head, he was screaming, "I'm so screwed." He felt like he had been talking way too big. Shakya looked around, then asked curiously, "Hey, what's that place up ahead?" "It looks absolutely magnificent." Kaban introduced, "That's the academy's main building. I heard that after the principal visited a campus in China, he gave it a really weird name. I think it's called Keji Tower." He couldn't help but burst out laughing. "What's that round thing up there? Is it the academy's mascot?" Kaban looked in his direction in confusion. There's nothing round over there. That building is clearly triangular." He awkwardly corrected her. "No, I didn't mean that building." Right in front of them was a virtual screen displaying a short, middle-aged man with a beard. She realized, that's a 3D hologram of the esteemed principal. I heard this thing cost $30 million. Shakya was utterly speechless. He feigned admiration, but his expression was purely sarcastic. "Wow, Your principal is certainly worth a pretty penny. Suddenly, he wasn't paying attention and bumped into someone. Ouch. Kaban looked over and saw a guy with a buzz cut wearing glasses. He was levitating a book in midair, looking incredibly intellectual. Master Kaban. Sorry. I was completely absorbed in my studies. You still need to watch where you're going. Safety first. A long-haired guy next to him waved. Yo, are you bringing in a newbie, teacher? She replied, I'm actually on my way to register, so I'll head out first. She walked away but still turned back to give them a supportive thumbs up. Study hard and don't slack off. Sika asked in confusion. Are they all students of Evernight Island? Kaban replied. That's right, but only after you pass. Suddenly, a loud shout cut them off. Woohoo, look out! From a distance, something shaped like a ball was rolling toward them at high speed. It kicked up a massive cloud of dust wherever it went, forcing everyone to scramble out of the way. Sika was puzzled. Huh? As it rolled past some schoolgirls, it blew their skirts right up, leaving them frantically, pushing them down while shouting curses. Ah, Tru Kwong, you total creep. A guy with a buzz cut had his book blown away by the wind. Hey, my book. A strange person bent their back into a perfect circle, easily dodging it. I bend. Kaban immediately jumped in front of it, giving an angry warning. How dare you use your powers to break the rules right in front of a teacher? Do you not want to graduate anymore? Sika, on the other hand, wasn't nearly as tough. The gust of wind knocked him flat on his back. Whoa, she blocked it with both hands. Stop right there. She lifted it up, and as electricity crackled and surged, the rolling object frantically begged for mercy. Sniffle, I was wrong. Teacher Kaban, spare my life. Down on the ground lay a charred, chubby, bald guy with smoke still rising from his head. Someone gloated. That's Tru Kwong for you. Serves him right. He always tries to show off. Sika looked a bit worried. Is he going to be okay? Taking advantage of the situation, two people started stomping on the guy to vent their anger. You almost ruined my library books. Smash him. Kaban put her hands on her hips, completely relaxed. He's fine. He's fine. Someone will be along to deal with him in a bit. As they kept walking, she suddenly gasped. Oh no, we're doomed. He asked, What's wrong? She rubbed her head and playfully stuck her tongue out. The registration time for new students has already ended. He immediately panicked. Huh, then what am I supposed to do now? She shook her head, acting like there was nothing she could do. Suddenly, someone approached them from behind with a soft click. It was a very handsome young man. He offered a friendly smile. Excuse me, do you two need any help? Kaban blushed and gushed in admiration. Wow, this year's freshmen are so handsome, Sika agreed. Yeah, but who are you? The sunset glow enveloped the sky over the academy. A voice suddenly asked, Are you a freshman this year? He just smiled. The surrounding atmosphere seemed to turn a rosy pink. Hello, teacher. I am Simon F. Gruber. It seems like you guys are in a bit of a pickle? Kaban, still in high spirits, replied, Oh, it's nothing major. This kid just missed the registration deadline, that's all, Sika glared at her. And you're laughing about it, Simon replied. Ah, I see. He shared the disappointing news. In that case, it looks like you won't be able to get into the dorms tonight. Hearing this, he was shocked. What? Is that really true? He turned back to Kaban, pointing to himself. Hey, teacher, don't just stand there so calm and collected. What on earth am I supposed to do now? She innocently suggested. Anyway, leave the registration to me. But if it doesn't work out today, why don't you find a park bench that looks comfy? Sika's eyes widened in disbelief. Huh? Simon held up 2 fingers and offered, If you don't mind, my dorm has 2 empty rooms. Without even fully resolving the situation, Kaban decisively turned around and left. So, this teacher is heading out first. Seeing that he had a place to crash for the night, Sika quickly bowed 90 degrees, completely ignoring her departure. Thank you so much. He gave a friendly smile. Haha. Then let me lead the way. As they walked together, he asked curiously, Hey Simon, what exactly is this spirit energy everyone talks about? He was surprised. Oh, you don't know about spirit energy? Stroking his chin, he explained. Well, spirit energy is actually one of the 2 great laws of this world. 4 patterns of 4 different colors represent earth, fire, water, and wood, respectively. No matter how much the world changes, elements and power are eternal. Elements build the world, and the power that controls those elements is spirit energy. Sika recalled the dark silhouette. The person in his dream had said something similar, but they never mentioned that the power to control elements was called spirit energy. Simon concluded, "You could say it's a gift from the gods." He was surprised. "What? Does it have something to do with the gods?" He went on to share, "I heard humans reportedly didn't have spirit energy in the past, and those scattered beams of light falling from the sky were actually the remains of fallen gods descending to the mortal world. Only those with a mark on their bodies would possess spirit energy. Once that light merges with a human, every spirit energy user has a chance to unlock the divine mark and inherit the full power left behind by that god. As the symbol slowly appears on their body, they become a spirit master, with power several or even hundreds of times greater than a regular spirit energy user. Among countless people with different abilities, the powerful spirit masters stand at the absolute peak of the human pyramid. They look down on the world with pride and disdain, controlling the very destiny of the earth. Shaka imagined this with excitement. That means being able to do absolutely anything. That would be so awesome. He. If only I could become a spirit master. Simon was left completely helpless by his reaction. He suddenly asked, "By the way, what's your psionic power?" Simon's eyes lit up, turning purple. "Me? I guess you could say my vision is 5.0. He looked at him searchingly. "Anyone who makes it to this exam is bound to be something special, right?" Shij got flustered. Yeah, right." He turned his head away to avoid his gaze, his steps stiffening up like a robot as he tried to change the subject. "We don't even know what we'll be tested on," Simon replied. "Well, tomorrow is the power ranking assessment, followed by limit testing and a written exam over the next 2 days. Shige clutched his chest, feeling like he was about to spit blood. "A power assessment? You mean they're grading our psionic energy? I'm dead. I'm so dead." Inside room 2083, his jaw completely dropped in awe. "Wow, the dorms on Evernight Island are this luxurious? Man, being a psionic user is seriously the best." Simon, on the other hand, didn't seem too impressed. "Haha, it's decent enough, I guess." Shij joyfully hugged 2 anime body pillows. "They actually have these here, the official Julie and Captain matching pillows." Simon stood by the doorway, feeling a bit awkward. Haha. "Do you like those? You can have them if you want." He felt a bit self-conscious. "Huh? But these are limited edition. Are you really sure?" Simon waved his hand. "No worries, it's fine." In reality, Simon was breaking out in a cold sweat. Why would these even be here? Did Instructor Diana prepare this? He bid him farewell. "Anyway, get some rest. See you tomorrow." Shij skipped happily. "Thanks. Sorry for bothering you tonight." He closed the door, still humming a tune. Simon peeked at him through the crack of the door. Even the eye of Horus couldn't see through this kid. The door finally shut completely. "Just don't disappoint me," Simon muttered as he collapsed onto his bed. He put his hands behind his head, groaning, "I'm exhausted." Shij sighed. A tear assessment. Just then, a dark shadow rose from beneath him. Sensing something was off, he looked up, and the sudden appearance of the shadow made his heart leap into his throat. Lucifer spoke arrogantly. "Foolish human." The Lord pulled up his hood. "It's me." CJ froze. "You." Realizing who it was, he asked in surprise. "What are you doing here?" Lucifer explained. "I am always with you." Confused, he asked. "Great One, who on earth are you, and what do you want with me?" Standing opposite him, the Lord said coldly, "I am you, and you are me. You will understand when the time is right." Sij quickly raised his hand. "This mark. And that surge of power inside my body. Did you do all of that?" Lucifer denied it. "No, I am your own choice." Shij was dazed. "Me?" The Lord recalled when he was lying helplessly on the ground. "Deep in your subconscious, you begged me to save you. Have you forgotten already?" The Lord appeared, channeling something into his body, and on the rooftop, because you wanted to live, you accepted my power and activated the ancient origin reconstruction art. A red aura flared in the Lord's palm, and now, the blade has turned into a mark. You and I will coexist in this world. Shiji stopped him. "Wait, this was originally a completely different blade, wasn't it?" The aura gradually took the shape of a dagger. The Lord fell silent, surprised by his sharp intuition. Lucifer said, "The true sharpness of the Godslayer blade is something you are not ready to witness yet," he praised. "Now that's a cool name." He scratched his head in confusion. "All right, let's say I did beg you to turn me into this. So, what am I now?" He frowned to confirm. "Am I considered a psionic user?" The Lord scoffed in annoyance. To think you're still obsessing over such a pointless question. Let me ask you, what is a psionic user anyway? Saig rubbed his chin, recalling Kaban's explanation. Well, someone with a god's mark, who has psionic energy and can control the elements. Lucifer enticed him. With my mark and the grand magic array of heaven and earth, the ancient origin reconstruction art can control infinite elements. All you have to do is agree. The Lord painted a highly tempting future, one that anyone would fall for. You will become the greatest psionic user in history. He leaped to his feet in excitement, declaring naively, That's right. If I can control the elements using the ancient origin reconstruction art, it won't even matter if I don't have psionic energy. The Lord immediately flew into a rage, striking his head with a bolt of lightning that exposed his bones. Foolish. Sige was left smoking and battered, shivering on the floor. Lucifer warned, Do not let your guard down. The ancient origin reconstruction art can help you open the gates to the psionic world, but it cannot keep you safe. The Lord completely shattered his confidence. Those who covet it can still easily crush you. Saiji struggled to lift his head, complaining, Then what am I supposed to do? Images of the grueling training and struggle of ordinary people flashed by. The most foolish yet resilient way of humanity. Train and fight. Shige listened intently. As your own strength grows, you will gradually unlock the true power of the ancient origin reconstruction art. Saiji hung his head in dejection. Those words were reassuring, but his heart was still filled with anxiety. But my psionic level is 0. Tomorrow's exam. If you don't pass, you'll be kicked off Evernight Island. Suddenly, a brilliant idea strikes him. He slides over to Lucifer and whispers, Listen, Great One. Tomorrow she'll know exactly what's on your mind. Realizing a flat-out rejection won't work, Shigia strikes a delicate orchid hand pose, feigning weakness with teary eyes, just like a spoiled girl throwing a tantrum. Ah, you rejected me without even thinking about it. That is so unfair. The Great One shudders and snaps. I am not helping you cheat. Lucifer flies up and gradually vanishes. Remember, guard my secret, and don't tell a soul. The Lord fades away, leaving only half of his face behind. Otherwise, disaster will strike. Meanwhile, in Zurich, Switzerland, clusters of adjacent luxury villas stand out, brightly lit in the dark night. Through a glass window, a girl can be seen soaking in a bathtub. Shocked by whatever she just heard, she stands up abruptly and demands, What did you say? Her sheer rage shatters the glass window. Pedestrians below look up in shock. Her voice echoes, Shut up. Notify the National Intelligence Center. Find him for me. Mary's eyes burn with determination. I won't let you slip out of my sight, Shigia. Zurich. 9 Heavens Light. Secret Monitoring Center. The radar screen sweeps as a voice barks. Expand the search area to the Pan-Asian region and lock down the network grid. The commander standing behind mutters in disbelief. How can a person just vanish into thin air? As his sweating subordinates scramble to comply, he yells urgently, We must find him before Lady Mary completely loses her mind. In the massive operations room, countless staff members are working tirelessly, shouting out updates. Southeast Asia scan is negative, commencing second sweep now. Chief, the Pan-Asian search area is too massive. It is practically impossible to pull this off in such a short time. Just then, a voice inquires from behind. Have you found him yet? Startled, he gasps. Huh? The chief turns around, his face paling as he stammers. Miss Mary, what brings you here in person? She wears a dark, menacing smile. If you don't find Shigia, none of you will live to regret it. He pleads frantically. I'm so sorry. We're doing everything we can. He then quickly reports. Miss Mary, we have a new lead. The target seems to have been taken by China's Dragon Group. She falls silent, deep in thought. The Dragon Group? Mary murmurs, surprised. They probably mistook Shigia for an ordinary Esper. She orders, Find out where they took him. The chief immediately rushes off to obey. Tracking the map, he announces, Found him. The target is currently in the Western Pacific, at latitude 21 degrees, 34 minutes, north. Recognizing the location, the chief panics. Miss Mary, this location seems to be. As an image of an island flashes on the screen, he finishes. Evernight Island. Mary's face turns grim. Evernight Island? The worst-case scenario has come to pass. Back in 1999, right after the Doomsday Prophecy, 2 people stood conversing in the pouring rain. He has returned. It is destiny. The world will be reborn from its own destruction. Lai Yuanbao, you cannot stop this. The cloaked man chuckles maniacally. I don't care if this world burns with you, but you're not dragging my Evernight Island down with it. This man is the headmaster himself, he declares. So, I won't let you get your hands on his miserable destiny. Back in the present, she thinks to herself, I can't let Shigeya fall into the hands of that old fossil under any circumstances. She quickly makes a decision. Bring him back to me, whatever the cost. The chief bows respectfully. Yes, ma'am. Suddenly, a subordinate reports. Evernight Island has a signal-blocking firewall, but we might be able to intercept their private communication channel. Mary suddenly remembers something and stops him. Wait a moment. She reasons that since the Dragon Group sent him there, Lai Yuanbao probably isn't aware of the situation yet. She changes her plan and stops the intrusion. The chief complies, though slightly confused. Yes, Miss Mary, but why the sudden change? She explains. The most critical thing right now is to avoid drawing that old man's attention. He asks hesitantly, then how do we monitor the target? She turns and walks away. We need someone to do the legwork for us. Mary casts a casual glance back at him, someone who can get close to Shigeya without raising any eyebrows. The chief is taken aback. She smiles, clearly having a plan mapped out. The perfect candidate is, of course, someone from Evernight Island. She sits down to review the files while the chief stands nearby, bowing attentively. Mary flips through the records until she finally finds what she's looking for. Staring at the profile of a young girl, Mary exhales with keen interest. Ah, over at Evernight Island, countless sea creatures are swimming gracefully through the sky. Just then, a massive whale glides past, its giant eye locked onto the figure standing before the glass. As the whale draws closer and closer, the headmaster remains standing there in absolute silence. Then, a smile crept onto his face. The whale's pupil reflected the director's image as he let out an eerie laugh. The distorted face let out a sound. Someone walked up and asked, Why are you sighing, director? Are you worried about Adao? I saw an ominous omen in the night sky. A great disaster is about to fall upon Evernight Island. This man was Fap Thang, the chief of Evernight Island's equipment department. Are you confused? The director walked away helplessly. What are you holding there? Handing him the folder, he explained. Oh, it's the files on this year's applicants. He flipped through the pages curiously. Seriously, Adao, don't you have any hobbies other than work? At least I listen to music, Fap Thang replied. I listened to it. You recommended the piece by Niccolo Paganini, the legendary Italian violinist, who supposedly sold his soul to the devil in exchange for matchless skills. The director chuckled. Ha, that's no legend. He continued. I heard there are a few applicants born in the year 99, but none of them are from S-City. A profile sheet slipped out, showing a photo of Simon. Fap Thang hesitated, studying it. Do you really think the demon god from the prophecy of 99 would come to study at Evernight Island before destroying the world? Not quite sure himself. He frowned. Well. He waited in silence for an answer, but the director just turned away awkwardly. Never mind, it's just a precaution, but my gut feeling is always spot on. The director jumped up and flopped onto his bed with a sigh. Sigh. Whatever, I'm not going to overthink it, as long as Evernight Island stands. He gave a thumbs up, trying to comfort himself. The demon god can never truly resurrect. Right, Adao? He closed his eyes calmly. Let's hope so. Meanwhile, at the dorms. Achoo. Shika sneezed, his nose starting to run. Wiping it with his hand, he muttered. Don't tell me I'm catching a cold, he told himself. The exam is tomorrow. I absolutely cannot get sick. Then, he clapped his hands over his head and prayed, Great God, please watch over me. I have to pass tomorrow. A stream of water materialized in his palm. Let's try that one more time. He traced his finger, drawing a line of water. More and more water swirled around him, making Shika's eyes widen. A sphere of water formed in front of his chest, and a magic circle flared to life behind him. Astounded, he gasped. Is this the ancient elemental composition technique? So I really can still control the water element. The water bubbled as the sphere began to shrink. Whoa, it's still shrinking. Overjoyed, he started to feel like a complete genius. But this is so simple. Could I actually be exceptionally gifted? Water droplets floated all around, bubbling softly. Shika burst into joyful laughter. Ha ha ha. I'm definitely going to become an Esper and live a great life. Angry shouts and complaints soon echoed from the other rooms. It's the middle of the night. What are you losing your mind over? Are you going to let anyone sleep? If you're not sleeping, get the hell out. You looking for a beating? The next morning, Everyone gathered at the designated spot for the incoming examinees, the Evernight Island Training Center. The massive gates slowly swung open, letting bright light stream through as the crowd filed inside. Shika's jaw dropped in awe. No way. Looking around the room packed with applicants, he thought, there are way too many people here. Shika squeezed through the crowd, keeping his eyes peeled. With this many people, aren't Espers supposed to be a rare breed? Just then, a voice spoke up behind him. You're newly awakened, aren't you? A blonde guy walked over. I heard that nowadays, only 1 in 500 people is an Esper. He introduced himself. I'm Zhao Yao, but everyone calls me Da Yao. I'm from B City, China. He replied, I'm Shika, you can just call me Shika. Did he mishear? Shika? Zhao Yao pointed at the crowd behind them. Don't be fooled by the numbers. The ones who actually make it into Evernight Island are the absolute elite among elites. Just then, a voice called out from a distance. Hey, Da Yao. 2 guys and a girl approached, making him smile. You guys came at the perfect time. Let me introduce you, this is Shika. The girl with glasses stammered. Shika? He introduced them one by one. This is Cheetos. He has earth-hardening abilities, and his jaw can turn into a drill. Tipping his hat, the boy playfully stuck out his tongue. What's up? Zhao Yao continued. Oreo, wind element, refractive energy shield. In any environment, she can blend her colors seamlessly. She seemed to be an introvert, murmuring, hello. And lastly, this is Char Siu. The chubby guy was slurping water, his puffy cheeks puffing out. Intrigued, Shika said. They all sound amazing. What's Char Siu's power? The chubby guy chuckled shyly. Heh, I'm Cantonese. I can eat literally anything. Oreo blushed with excitement. Dayao's power is the most incredible one among us. Zhao Yao beamed with pride. Ha, you know it. Flipping a coin into the air, he gestured. Let me show you. Keep your eyes peeled. He cupped his hands together, and when he opened them, the coin had turned glowing red and was melting. My ability is fire-based. At maximum heat, I can reach 1,600 degrees Celsius. Even metal melts instantly. Looking at Zhao Yao's flaming hand, Shige praises him. Wow, that is so cool. He pretends to be modest. Haha, it is nothing special really. Suddenly, the chubby guy opens his mouth wide to take a deep breath, then blows with all his might to launch a flaming coin. The others watch in sheer panic. The coin flies straight towards someone's head nearby. He screams a warning. Whoa, watch out! You are going to burn someone. Shiga immediately swings his hand, summoning water. Let me handle this. Ancient book origin reconstruction art. The other guy whirls around in shock, seeing 2 elemental attacks rushing right at him. Shiga's water spell hits him straight in the face, leaving him completely speechless. The flaming coin is put out and drops to the ground. He stands frozen in his casting pose, extremely embarrassed by the awkward situation. That still counts as a success, right? Maybe? Furious, Ren grabs Zyge by the collar. You little punk, are you playing with a water gun with me? Turning pale, he quickly tries to explain. I am sorry, that is not it. Suddenly, a hand rests on his shoulder to stop him. That is enough. He stays quiet, looking down with a click of his tongue. Ren lets go of him, saying with pure disdain, Consider yourself lucky. Now get lost. He hits the floor with a thud. Lying on the ground, Shige is stepped over by everyone passing by. Edward glares at him arrogantly, throwing a harsh insult. Someone like you actually dares to call yourself a water elementalist? Oreo and Zhao Yao help him pull himself up. Hearing this, he boils with anger. What did you say? Furious, ZG tries to charge forward to start a fight. What do you mean by that? Who do you think you are? Zhao Yao tightly holds him back, desperately trying to calm him down. Hey, let it go, let it go. Suddenly, Ren is sent flying into the air, coughing up blood. Arg! Everyone turns their attention to him as he crashes back first onto the ground. Everyone freezes. Just watching it makes their own backs ache. A figure appears, startling them all. It is Ye Xiao Xiao. She brushes her hands off, as if she just touched something filthy. The bystanders stare in absolute shock. She is so strong. Who on earth is this girl? He messed with the wrong person. Ren grits his teeth, veins popping on his forehead, letting out a cold growl. He lunges at her with everything he has. The ground beneath him cracks as countless rocks gather around his arms. Stone slowly covers his entire body, transforming him into a rock golem. He raises his fist. You bastard. Siege's group breaks out in a cold sweat. Here it comes, but Ye Xiao Xiao calmly draws her sword. You do not know your own limits. Just as the two are about to clash, someone suddenly roars, "Everyone, stop right now." A series of blue energy spheres, linked by black lightning, surround them. Ye Xiao Xiao looks at it in alarm. Ren instantly stops his attack. What on earth is this? He is pinned flat to the floor by an intense gravity, unable to move a muscle. Oreo points in confusion. "Hey, look over there." Everyone turns around at once. Sieg says blankly, "Someone is coming." 4 figures walk toward them from the light in front of the freshman. A glowing energy sphere floats in the man's palm. He speaks up. When the announcement was made, did the teacher not mention that the examination committee would be coming to the training hall? The atmosphere instantly falls dead silent. Every single person focuses their attention on them. The young man announces, "To the student who broke the floor tiles, remember to fill out a compensation form later." These are the academic supervisor and the financial manager. Nangong Si, Oreo's eyes instantly turn into hearts as she stares at the examiner in pure admiration. I cannot believe that is Nangong Se. At only 25 years old, he is already a spirit master with god-tier power. Saij looks up, lost in his thoughts. Is this what a true powerhouse looks like? He gives a calm warning. "Do not let this happen again," and waves his hand. Ren is still struggling to break free. Ye Xiaoxiao notices the black energy bands slowly dissolving. Once the restraint is lifted, he roars in anger. "Damn it, do you even know who I am? This is not over." But in an instant, his face turns pale. His clothes are completely shredded, leaving him naked. I will not let you get away with this." Ye Xiaoxiao replies with total indifference. "Oh." A figure steps forward. "Enough," Nangongse warns. "Evernight Island is not a place for you to run wild." Standing beside him, Ning Lao Guai strokes his beard with interest. Diana chimes in, "Oh, come on, Nangongse, you are so harsh." She sticks her tongue out, licking her fingertip. Haha, she lets out a playful laugh. This year's candidates are actually so cute. She is Diana, the practical training instructor of Evernight Island. The theory instructor of Evernight Island, Ning Lao Guai, frowns and scoffs. Just then, Saij notices someone sneakily holding a piece of paper behind their back. Is Teacher Keben also an examiner this year? He wonders in confusion. What is she doing? She gently places Saij's information sheet onto the stack of papers. I did not have time to submit the registration form yesterday, so slipping it in now should do the trick. She pretends to whistle, looking around. Perfect. No one noticed a thing. It would have been a disaster if I got caught. She praises herself. Done. I am a total genius. Nangongche calls out, "Keben, what are you just standing there for? It is your turn." Hearing her name, she jumps in fright. Yes! He casts a suspicious glance at her. She raises her voice to introduce herself. I am Keben. I manage the safety of Evernight Island and am in charge of discipline at this exam venue. She raised her index finger to the sky, hyping up the crowd. The candidates below immediately cheered in response. Gongse then began explaining the exam details, which were split into 3 rounds. Everyone listened in dead silence, terrified of missing a single detail. We will decide whether you can enter Evernight Island based on your overall performance. He called out to Elder Ning, handing things over to him as the old man assumed a stern expression. He smiled and cleared his throat. Ahem, the first round will test the limits of your elemental perception. He continued. This is to evaluate your spiritual energy talent level. Everyone gasped as their bodies suddenly trembled. A dazzling ring of light appeared right in the middle of the crowd. Is that an earthquake? What is going on? Look over there, what is that? They stared closely at the glowing ring. Something was about to appear. From the ring, a colossal pillar of light shot straight into the sky. What on earth is this? Sigi's jaw dropped in disbelief. Wow, 4 elemental beast totems manifested in the air. The giant dragon represents the earth element, Zhao Hua. The beast with sharp fangs and claws is the fire element, Fentian. The creature with a tiger body, an eagle head, and wide-stretched wings is the wind element, Huangkong. And finally, the water element, Shuanghua, which took the form of an ice bird with a long tail. Everyone tried their best to look, shielding their eyes from the blinding glare. It's too bright. It's blinding. The mark on Siege's chest began to flicker. Wait, why does my chest feel a bit hot? As the light slowly faded, everyone was completely shocked. He stared in absolute disbelief. Oh my God. Are those divine beasts? He quickly turned around and asked Zhao Yao, what on earth are those things? Zhao Yao's face was completely dazed. His cheeks flushed red, and he was drooling like a drunkard. Zhao Yao, what's wrong with you? Since when did you drink so much? Saig shook his shoulders frantically. Wake up, are you okay? He mumbled half asleep, I really want to go over there. He looked around and was shocked to see everyone else in the exact same state. Wait, why are you guys all acting like this? Suddenly, Ye Xiao brushed past him, bumping into his shoulder. All the candidates were heading toward the same spot, completely hypnotized and out of their minds. Shiga quickly realized something was off with the girl from earlier too. He immediately grabbed her arm to stop her. Stop, don't go any further. Old Monster Ning smirked with disdain. Useless brats. The three-headed scepter in his hand opened its mouth to reveal razor-sharp fangs, unleashing crackling bolts of lightning. The candidates clutched their heads, while the teachers sighed in disappointment. Sigh, seriously, it is the same story every single year. After a moment, everyone finally snapped out of it. Everyone looked utterly bewildered. Huh? What just happened? Elder Ning let out a fake cough to get their attention. Ahem. He casually stroked his beard, scowling with irritation. Quiet. As spirit users, it is perfectly normal to be captivated by elemental totems. What are you panicking for? Saij thought to himself in confusion. Wait, it didn't seem to affect me at all. Ye Xiaoxiao spoke up. You can let go of my arm now. He quickly pulled his hand back in panic. Ah, sorry about that. She turned to leave but hesitated for a split second. Thanks for earlier. Old Monster Ning smiled excitedly and announced, what you see before you is a holographic projection, which serves as the testing barrier. A freshman named Oreo stepped forward. Step inside the barrier, he instructed. She nervously pushed up her glasses. And then what? As Huan Kong manifested, Oreo was instantly enveloped in a brilliant green light within the barrier. The examinee is now establishing a neural connection with the elemental totem. She stood there blankly, completely unsure of what to do. By stimulating their elemental threshold, we evaluate the examinee's potential. She slowly opened her eyes as an announcement rang out. Oreo, wind element, C-grade potential. She let out a huge sigh of relief. Haha, I passed. Xiao Xiao tossed her up in the air to celebrate. Yeah. Next up was Zhao Yao. Hearing his name, he nervously clutched his head. He clenched his fists and declared with confidence, I am not getting eliminated, just watch me. The result was exactly as expected. Zhao Yao, fire element, B-grade potential. The announcements kept coming. Lu Hu, water element, failed to meet the standard. In the crowd, Siege admired him with awe. A B-grade is the best score in the entire venue so far. That's amazing. Zhao Yao acted humble. Ha, it's nothing major, Oreo chimed in. You're so cool. Suddenly, Xiao Xiao pointed in shock. Whoa, look over there. Zhao Hua hovered right in front of Ye Xiao. Ye Xiao, earth element, A-grade potential. She didn't look surprised at all. Just then, someone pushed their way through the crowd, shouting, Move! Out of the way! Cheetos was shoved, spinning around. Ouch! Another guy pushed Zij aside, yelling, Get out of the way, kid! Anger flared inside him. Why is it always you guys? You think having a big crowd makes you special? Why do you have to act like total jerks wherever you go? Edward's bodyguards held him back while the others cleared a path for him. He didn't say a single word, but the look in his eyes was dripping with pure contempt. Shaka frowned in confusion, staying quiet under the heavy silence. Next up was Edward. He stepped inside the barrier and began his test. Zhao Yao looked incredibly excited and full of anticipation, but Shaka just crossed his arms, glared at him, and snorted. Please, what's so special about this guy anyway? Since when is he some kind of genius? If he's so tough, let's see him get an A rank. Look at this young master, you guys. Shaka's eyes went wide. A frosty mist materialized in front of Edward, and a booming voice echoed through the hall. Edward Joseph, water element, A rank. Yet, Edward kept his cool, acting completely unfazed. Zhao Yao gasped. Whoa, you actually called it. Are you some kind of psychic prophet or what? Those words felt like a physical arrow piercing right through Shaka's chest. He practically spit blood, absolutely hating to admit it, but that bastard was the real deal. Edward remained perfectly calm, but even just standing there, everyone could feel the sheer, freezing pressure of his raw power. Shaka grit his teeth in pure jealousy. So, is this what a real A-rank water Esper is capable of? Gong Se spoke up, the last name Joseph. Is he the heir to the Rose family? Old Monster Ning gave a nod of approval. Outstanding talent. Too bad he comes from a family of devils. Kevin gasped. Wait, what? A family of devils? Nangong suddenly remembered. Oh, right. It's because of their dark family tradition. Right then, holographic memories of Edward's childhood began playing all around them. Surrounded by his own flesh and blood, the young Edward stood. For generations, the Rose family had a brutal custom. They would only raise the single child with the absolute strongest Esper potential to be their glorious heir and their ultimate sacrifice. At the same time, once that chosen child was selected, their siblings, following ancient family traditions, would be secretly offered as human sacrifices to maintain the purest, most powerful Rose bloodline. Even as a little boy, Edward was just as cold and detached as he is today, standing calmly as countless thorny rose vines wrapped around him. This family's prestige was built entirely on a mountain of blood and sacrifice. Diana shrugged, feeling like their history didn't really matter. The Esper world is full of absolute lunatics and freaks anyway. As long as he's strong, who cares? Gongze fell silent, then coldly replied, Is that so? I can't say I agree. As the minutes ticked away, the candidates completed their tests one after another. The hands of the clock kept spinning, and registration sheets flew all over the place. A few standouts definitely stole the spotlight. First up was Musashi Kumamoto, grading as an A-rank Earth type. Right after him was Simon F. Gruber, who scored an A-rank Wind type. Cabin cheered in excitement. Wow, we've got quite a few A ranks this year. Shaka's jaw literally hit the floor. That's so cool. His eyes literally popped out of his head and turned into flying hearts. He walked up to him in complete awe. Hey Simon, I had no idea you were such a badass. Simon offered a humble smile. Oh, it was nothing special. Best of luck to you, Shaka. Hearing that, Shaka broke into a nervous sweat. Haha. Yeah, I'll do my best. He tried to calm his racing heart. No, wait. It's just a simple test, right? There's absolutely nothing to be scared of. Meanwhile, Gongse looked down at the folder in his hands and noticed something odd. Huh? Why is there no official stamp from the registration office on this one? Kevin immediately looked away and whistled, trying to play it completely cool. He pondered. Is this the file Kevin sneakily slipped in earlier? Looking through Shaka's data, nothing really stood out. The loudspeaker crackled to life. Next candidate, Shaka. Zhao Yao and the others immediately cheered loudly. You're up, buddy. You've got this. Go get him. Shaka pressed his hands together in desperate prayer. Please, gods, just let me pass. As he stepped into the barrier, the 4 elemental phantom beasts slowly closed in to inspect him. Gongse gave a nod. Begin. Simon watched closely from below, while Kevin's eyes were filled with absolute faith in him. Shaka stood frozen, but his mind was racing with absolute panic. Why aren't these elemental phantom beasts reacting to me at all? One elemental beast after another sniffed and stared at him, but after what felt like an eternity, absolutely nothing happened. Kevin watched silently from a distance, cheering him on in her heart. You can do this, Shaka. But all around him, impatient murmurs and mocking sneers began to rise from the crowd. What's taking so long? If you don't have the chops, just get off the stage. Did this loser seriously wander into the wrong exam room? Shaka pointed his finger forward, psyching himself up. Come on, let's try that move. I can do this. A magical array slowly began to form behind him and between his palms. He flashed back to his past, remembering everyone who had ever put their faith in him. No one who makes it to this exam is an ordinary person. What? Your psychic power rating is literally 0. How on earth did you qualify for admission? The moment you leave Eternal Night Island, you're dead meat. Shaka shut his eyes tight, shouting back in his mind, No. He grit his teeth with determination. No, I will not die here. As the water element began to manifest, his eyes flared with determination. I am going to become an Esper. But when he looked down, there was nothing but a tiny, pathetic splash of water in his palm. He literally froze like a statue, then shattered into pieces at the sight of it. Shaka sank to his knees in utter despair. So, I really can't do it after all? Suddenly, the loudspeaker blared. Shaka. Aptitude evaluation. He gasped in shock as the voice announced, Water element, C rank. Shaka clenched his fists in pure joy, screaming at the top of his lungs, thinking it was all a dream. I passed. I actually passed. He scratched the back of his neck, laughing sheepishly. Haha. Honestly, I felt a massive surge of spiritual energy back there. Xiao clapped his hands in celebration, exclaiming, That is awesome! Tears streamed down Cheetos's face as he sobbed. Oh man, I'm the only one who didn't make the cut. I really don't want to get disqualified. Zhao Yao slung an arm around his shoulder, laughing. Haha, cut the crap. C rank isn't the end of the world. Don't worry, I'll look out for you from now on. He chuckled awkwardly. Well, I guess I should thank you then. Meanwhile, Cheetos squatted in a corner, sulking. You guys are so heartless. You're all only paying attention to Shijia. No one seemed to care that he had failed. Xiao tried to comfort him. Look, there are 3 rounds in total. Once you finish all of them, they'll look at your overall score. You still have a chance, Zhao Yao suggested optimistically. All right, tonight's on me. Let's go grab some awesome food. They say tomorrow's round is going to be absolutely brutal. Shijia quietly let out a sigh of relief. At least he had made it through the first round safely. He pumped himself up. Even though the results were a bit lower than expected, it was still a great start. Suddenly, a hand slammed into his back from behind. Kevin slapped him so hard he coughed up blood, yelling, Shijia! Ignoring his obvious injury, she followed up with another blow to his head, sending him face-planting onto the ground. Ha ha ha, I knew you wouldn't let me down. Oreo, however, looked a bit worried about his condition. She hesitated. Master, is he going to be okay? Seeing him lying there completely wrecked, Kevin awkwardly acted innocent. Huh? I barely even used any strength. Simon wore a twisted, disbelieving smile. A C rank? How is that even possible? I definitely felt a massive surge of power just now. Are you hiding your true strength, Shijia? He was absolutely convinced that he had seen right through the guy. Just you wait, I will definitely uncover your secret. Sensing the dark, ominous aura radiating from him, the guy standing next to him shuddered. Simon? Are you okay? He instantly put back on his warm, friendly smile, replying, Oh, it's nothing. Standing on the platform, Diana noticed him. Oh? It looks like my dear prince is staring intently at someone. She pretended to feel pity. Oh dear, I really feel for that poor guy. Old Monster Ning frowned and warned her. Causing trouble on Evernight Island will not be tolerated. Diana, you're the one who brought that student. Simon, here, you'd better keep him in line. She stretched her arms and sighed. Sigh, I can't control that guy. He's Simon, after all. Whenever he sets his mind on something, he always gets it done, she explained calmly. Besides, it's not like I lured him to Evernight Island. You could say everything was already within his expectations. It's just a twist of fate that was bound to happen. She raised 2 fingers, forming a finger gun as she mused. Honestly, the only things that interest him are things that catch him completely off guard. I wonder if his own death is part of his grand plan too. Diana aimed her finger gun at him as a dark shadow loomed, whispering, Bang! Gongse cut her off coldly. Stop playing these pointless games, Diana. She shook her head with a sigh. Sheesh, you're so boring. Ice block Nangong. He looked down at the contestants below, lost in thought. But looking at Kevin over there, scratching her head in confusion under Shijia's dramatic accusations, he was actually paying quite close attention to that kid. Which was rather strange. Gongse recalled the scene from just a moment ago. In that brief instant, did Shuanghua actually tremble and let out a terrified scream because of him? It made no sense, since the kid was clearly just a C rank. He stroked his chin, riddled with doubt. Did my eyes play tricks on me? Or is there really something wrong with this kid, Shijia? Suddenly, the shocked gasps of the crowd interrupted his thoughts. Whoa, who the heck is that guy? Inside the barrier, a fierce, blazing fire erupted, lighting up the entire area in a brilliant red. As the flames gradually subsided, the figure of a person emerged. A young man stood there holding his sword with a serious expression. It was Qin Ming, boasting an A+ rank potential, fire element. As he stepped onto the ground under everyone's watchful eyes, the crowd buzzed with confusion. A+? What kind of rank is that? I've never even heard of it. What's this guy's deal anyway? The only one completely oblivious was Shijia, who was still too busy bickering with Kaben. For the first time since the selection process began, Gongse finally let out a small smile. It looks like we have quite a few unusual rookies this year. Late that night, after the first round had officially ended, all the students were fast asleep. Only a few lights remained on in the dorms. Shijia was asleep, clutching his knees with drool running down his chin, when a deafening alarm suddenly blared out, Ring, ring! He bolted upright in a complete panic. He threw open his door and looked around. What's going on? People were already rushing out of the neighboring rooms, shouting, Run, get moving. Shijia had absolutely no clue what was happening, but he chose to follow the crowd anyway. Why is everyone running outside? Is there a fire? but as soon as he stepped out of the building, he saw a group of people in combat uniforms lined up. He gasped. Everyone around him was still half asleep, nodding off on their feet. He was utterly baffled. Why are there so many people? What's about to happen? Once all the contestants had gathered, the leader stepped forward. He solemnly pulled out a megaphone and yelled, "Everyone, gather in the dark forest ahead. Prepare for the second round of the selection exam." The deafening blast of the megaphone pierced their eardrums, instantly waking everyone up. Shijia's face twisted in agony from the noise. With bloodshot eyes, he stared in utter disbelief. What? An exam? At midnight? The announcer repeated the message once more. Please head to the Black Forest ahead immediately. The exam will begin at exactly midnight. Anyone who arrives late will be disqualified. Shaka stood there, completely dazed. This rule is way too arbitrary. Oreo frowned, looking worried. The Black Forest is 10 kilometers away from here. Before anyone could even react, a guy wrapped in a cloak gave a sly grin. Hee. He gathered his strength and leaped forward. Ha ha! I am taking the lead, suckers. The other candidates watched in awe as he leaped across the tree branches, vanishing into the distance in the blink of an eye. Immediately after, piles of clothes were flung into the air all at once. Everyone scrambled to make a run for it. Someone yelled out in disbelief, "Hey, is it even fair that you guys are fully dressed under your pajamas?" Shaka scrambled to keep up, cursing under his breath. Damn it. No time to think. I just have to go all out. Suddenly, a voice called out to him. Shaka, get up here. It was Xiao Xiao, a C-rank wind user who had transformed into a giant balloon, carrying Zhao Yao and the rest of the group. He gestured wildly. Grab my hand. Shaka quickly reached out and snatched it. Xiao Xiao's face flushed red from the strain. Gotcha. He shot forward like a gust of wind, leaving a trail of dust in his wake. Screams of terror echoed out. Ah. Shaka looked up, completely mesmerized by the starry night sky. Zhao Yao said cheerfully, Man, thank goodness we have Xiao Xiao. Otherwise, we'd be down there on the ground, running like mindless sheep with everyone else. Looking down, all they could see was a sea of tiny black dots scrambling across the ground. Unlike those running on foot, Simon was tearing up the path in a super cool sports car. Shaka yelled out in pure jealousy. What the hell is that? How on earth did he get a sports car at the bottom of the ocean? After a short flight, they finally arrived. Xiao Xiao crashed down to the ground, causing a massive tremor. He used his entire body to cushion the landing. Shaka, trapped right underneath him, had his head spinning. Thanks for the ride. They ended up piled on top of each other like a human pyramid. Suddenly, an announcement echoed, Welcome to the Black Forest Playground. The Black Forest. The entrance to Evernight Island's artificial training facility. The gate, formed from ancient trees, glowed with a mystical green light. A girl standing on top of the gate smiled and muttered, Well, quite a crowd we have here. All right then, she looked down. Let us begin the second round right now. This was Diana, Evernight Island's practical training instructor. Everyone listened with bated breath as she raised her voice to announce, Your task is to cross the Black Forest. She gave an excited grin, causing Shaka and his group to brace themselves. You must cross the Black Forest before sunrise. The atmosphere around her suddenly grew dark and ominous. You may use any method, any trick, or any means necessary to pass. Simon remained completely unbothered, while Edward and Ye Xiao Xiao looked calm, but the other candidates wore sinister, plotting grins. They trembled with excitement, ready to do whatever it takes. The gate began to glow with a blinding light. Only the first 100 survivors who make it back will pass. Everyone else will have their scores wiped completely. She added a final warning. Remember, Evernight Island only welcomes the strong. With a hand reaching through the portal, Shaka closed his eyes, ducked his head, and stepped inside. Ow! He looked around in a daze, finding himself surrounded by dense woods and glowing fireflies. Whew! Where on earth am I? Didn't we all enter together just a second ago? Where is everyone else? He yelled out, Zhao Yao, Xiao Xiao, Oreo, Cheetos. Where are you guys? Through the thick fog in the distance, a blurry figure emerged. Simon walked out calmly, murmuring, Looks like I'm lost. He studied the floating specks of light drifting in the air, noting they were designed to disorient and confuse them. I need to get out of here quickly. Closing his eyes, he pressed 2 fingers between his brows, and a glowing purple sigil manifested. Horus, the Eye of God, which reveals all truths of the past and present. Suddenly, a complex web of thin, glowing threads stretched out before his eyes. Huh? This forest actually has 12 exits. His eyes burned with a fiery light. Well then, Simon reached into his coat to pull something out. Which one of these is the actual exit? Holding up an antique pocket watch, he muttered with a hint of doubt. Is this thing even accurate? Elsewhere, a cluster of sharp, thorny vines began to slither. Shaka got tangled up in them and struggled desperately to break free, crying out in pain. Ah, ow, ow, that hurts. He stumbled forward, scanning his surroundings. Damn it, why can't I find anyone? It is nothing but thorns as far as the eye can see. He grabbed a broken tree branch off the ground. This creepy place better not have any monsters. Well, I guess I can use this as a makeshift weapon. Suddenly, he noticed something rustling on a tree trunk. A snake-like phantom beast hissed, ready to lunge at him. Startled, he shrieked, "Whoa!" But what happened next was downright bizarre. Shaka casually pinched the creature by its neck with just 2 fingers, looking absolutely dumbfounded. He couldn't help but chuckle at its puny size. Seriously? Is this the terrifying forest monster? Man, you actually scared me for a second. The creature squirmed and hissed furiously, but looking closely at this tiny bug-like thing. Huh? Suddenly, something clicked. Shaka recalled the first exam, realizing this creature looked remarkably similar to the earth elemental totem he had seen earlier, the creation of earth. Is this little guy an earth elemental phantom beast too? Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet began to glow. He panicked. What is going on? The ground under him and the snake phantom beast in his hand suddenly went wild. It was now 1 o'clock in the morning. This is the 32nd time dying in the forest of the Miracle Tower. Meanwhile, inside the monitoring room under the moonlit sky, inside the tower, Kaban is fast asleep, completely oblivious to the world. Elsewhere, Diana and Nin Lao Kwai are sitting comfortably, keeping a close eye on the freshman. She giggles, "Ah ha ha, I love rookies the most. Their fresh aura is just so intoxicating." Nin Lao replies, "So the exam site is actually a dark forest full of traps. You really didn't show these rookies any mercy, did you?" She replies playfully, "Not at all. It's because they're rookies that we must be extra strict." Then, Diana turns her gaze toward the panicked Shaka, her voice sounding a bit twisted. "Fight brutally. Budding flowers look so much more beautiful when they are drenched in blood. Only those who solve the puzzle correctly will be welcomed as new students." Back to Shika's battle, a sudden blinding energy erupts, making him gasp. Whoa, something is slowly taking shape. What is this? Suddenly, it morphs into a giant phantom snake beast right in front of Shaka, leaving him utterly terrified. Whoa, big guy, my bad, okay? He then forces himself to calm down, knowing he has to find a way to escape immediately. The beast lets out a massive hiss, turning his face pale. Without a second thought, Shaka scrambles to run away as fast as his legs can carry him. The snake roars and chases after him. "Help! Somebody help!" Suddenly, the snake's tail whips him hard, making him cry out in pain. Arg! Instantly, Shaka is thrown violently through the air. The beast's power is no joke. A single strike blows his entire body back, knocking down several ancient trees in its path. Shaka, now bruised and aching all over, struggles to stand up against a tree trunk. Is this for real? I feel like my bones are about to break." He quickly shakes it off. "No, this is an exam. I have to fight back." Shaka activates his spell to counter the beast. Before he can even finish casting ancient tome structure, the snake opens its mouth wide and lunges to swallow him whole, freezing him in fear. Immediately after, both the snake and Shaka crash through the forest, knocking down several trees in their path. The beast uses all its weight to push forward, while Shaka holds on with both hands, trembling as he tries to hold it back. At this point, Shaka is gripping its fangs tightly, using his legs to desperately hold back the beast's lower jaw. "No, stay back." He strains with every ounce of his strength. "Where's my main character energy?" "Hakdao Dai, then you said you'd always be with me. Why aren't you coming out?" Venom from the beast's fangs slowly drips down toward Shika's thigh. The drop gets closer and closer to his thigh, and when it finally lands, it sizzles and burns deep into his skin, making him scream in pure agony. Suddenly, a spinning sword flies out of nowhere, closing in on his position in an instant. The sword plunges straight into the beast's eye, leaving Shaka utterly dazed. The beast thrashes in agony, flinging him aside. Shaka slumps against a tree trunk, gasping for air. Before he can even recover, a voice calls out, "You idiot! What are you just standing there for?" Furious after the surprise attack, the beast charges wildly toward him. Panicked, he calls out to his savior. Diep Hu. Diep Hu grabs the sword hilt, preparing to pull it out, and yells to the sweating boy, "Can you run? Then go." Without a second thought, Shika runs like the wind, leaving her to face the beast alone. Now fully focused, Diep Hu grips the hilt tightly and slowly drags the blade out of the snake's eye. Instantly, blood spurts everywhere as she sits triumphantly on its head, ripping the blade out and letting its blood splatter. She leaps down, landing right next to Shika and startling him. "Whoa, where did you just come from?" Ignoring him, Diep Hu coldly replies, "Less talking, more running. He has no choice but to follow." Right." As they make a break for it, he says, Thanks. But I think we really pissed it off." Knowing they can't drag this out, Diep Hu reveals her plan. "My master said anger exposes weaknesses. Distract it, and leave the rest to me." A bit annoyed, Shika asks, "How am I supposed to distract a giant snake?" She doesn't bother answering and just takes off, leaving him all on his own. "Hey," he screeches to a halt, quickly glancing behind him. Seeing the beast staring in Diep Hu's direction, Shika realizes it's going after Diep Hu. Having no other choice, he picks up a rock, throws it hard at the beast, and yells defiantly, "Hey, stupid snake, look over here." It fumes with rage, while he casually taunts, "Come on, hit me." Out of patience, the snake opens its massive jaws and lunges at him. Right when he's about to cast his spell, this is it. Ancient Tome Formation. Origin spell. Immediately, a powerful shield of water envelops him, blocking the snake's attack. But before long, the beast pushes even harder, forcing him to grit his teeth to hold the line. Slowly backing away and growing weaker by the second, he finally couldn't hold on any longer. Just as he was about to fall backward, he cried out, "Ye Xiao, hurry!" Hearing his plea, Ye Xiao quickly clasped her hands together and chanted, "Myriad manifestations, Earth's aegis, Earth spirit bind." As soon as the words left her mouth, massive thorny vines wrapped around the phantom beast. The thorns coiled tightly around its body, squeezing harder and harder. Suddenly, they choked its neck, making the beast howl in agony. Unleashing her ultimate move, she leaped from her spot and lunged at the beast, slashing it repeatedly. Finally, she delivered the finishing blow to end the beast, cross-slash. Immediately after, a massive explosion erupted right behind Ye Xiao. She walked away coolly without even looking back. Sage stared in absolute shock. That giant snake! While Ye Xiao heroically sheathed her sword, he could only gasp in disbelief. She completely one-shotted it. Then, a glowing object caught his eye, leaving him puzzled. "Huh? What's this?" He got excited. Could this be a boss drop? But right then, a throwing knife suddenly flew straight toward him. He turned pale with fright. The throwing knife thudded into the tree, barely grazing his cheek. Still, he cried out in pain, "Ouch! That hurts! Who's there?" Seeing his reaction, a group of people smirked maliciously. He quickly spotted them. Ren and his gang emerged from the bushes. "Humph, you again, and you even brought this C-rank trash with you. Heh, nobody can save you this time." He immediately made his intentions clear. "Hand over the earth element totem." Furious, Ye Xiao reached for her sword, ready to fight them off. "My master once said, some people are just born asking for a beating. Today, I'm finally seeing it with my own eyes." Seeing this, the leader ordered his lackeys, "You're asking for death. Grab them." "Yes, sir." The lackeys quickly leaped in front of her. "Take this, die." But their intimidation didn't shake her resolve at all. Her gaze remained razor sharp. Without hesitation, she sliced right through the first guy. Keeping her momentum, she immediately lunged at the second one. And just like that, she didn't spare the last guy either. She landed gracefully, standing before the thugs who lay groaning on the ground. Anyone else, the remaining thugs gasped in terror. Slowly, Ren's hand began to morph into solid rock. "Damn it, you brat." He raised his massive stone arm. "Taste my ultimate skill, gigantic rock form." Ye Xiao didn't hesitate for a second. She gripped her sword and charged straight at him. The two clashed head-on, but just as a massive collision seemed inevitable, she proved to be a step faster, landing a clean slash across his body. He screamed in agony, "Arg!" Hearing his leader's cry, the remaining lackey froze in sheer terror. My hand." Meanwhile, Shige cheered excitedly, "Nice hit." Angered, the thug took his frustration out on him, punching a nearby tree with a smug, threatening grin. "What? Die." Luckily, Zij dodged just in time, but because the thug punched the tree with all his might, his hand was now completely stuck. Damn it, it's stuck. Seizing the opportunity, Zij picked up a thick branch, a devious smirk creeping onto his face. Heh. Now, Ren knelt before her blade, panting heavily. Huff, huff, huff. She stood over him, pointing her sword right at his chest. Nobody can save you this time. She interrogated him. Have you been following me? He squealed, trying desperately to make an excuse. No way. We were just looking for the earth element phantom beast. We were going to wait for it to swallow that kid first, then kill it. Before he could even finish, Zij, hiding in the bushes, gasped in disbelief. You bastards were going to use me as bait for an earth boss? Ye Xiao cut them off, holding up the elemental totem in her hand. Second question. What exactly is this totem? Using what little strength he had left to stand up, he explained. Defeating a phantom beast of the same element as yourself drops a shard of the elemental totem. A vision of 4 glowing elements merging appeared. Whoever collects all 4 types of elemental totems can leave the Black Forest and pass the exam. Hearing this, Zij rubbed his chin, deeply lost in thought. Everyone only has 1 element, which means to gather all 4, we have to steal them from each other. Suddenly, Ren's expression soured, looking down on him with utter contempt. Out of 100 people, only 100 can stay on Evernight Island. That's why trash like you doesn't stand a chance of making it out alive. Those harsh words struck him like a bolt of lightning. What? The two kept bickering back and forth, leaving Ye Xiao completely speechless. Who are you calling trash, you devious snake? A bottom-tier C-rank loser like you deserves to rot in this forest. And you're still dreaming of getting admission? He grit his teeth and cursed. Damn it, what does my C-rank have to do with you? What gives you the right to look down on C-ranks? Suddenly, an unfamiliar voice cuts in, because trash like you doesn't deserve to be here. You're just wasting Evernight Island's resources. The whole group finally snaps out of it, whipping their heads around toward the voice. Who's there? The entire forest instantly falls into an eerie silence. Then, 2 rows of bodyguards step aside, clearing a path for Edward Jossman. Seeing this, Ye Xiao frowns. It's him. She gasps out his name, Edward. He casually strolls forward, stopping right in front of Ren, who is kneeling on the ground. Ren stammers out, "Why, young master?" Edward looks down at him, his face cold as ice. "Ren, you failed." Ren drops to his knees, begging, "Please, give me one more chance. I'm begging you. I'm begging you." Edward opens his palm in front of Ren's face. "I am very disappointed in you." Edward unleashes his magic, driving Ren deeper into despair. No. The massive surge of energy radiating from him leaves Tika and Ye Xiao completely stunned. They shout in urgency, "It's water magic. Watch out, get back." Edward scowls. Everyone on this side shields their eyes from the blinding light, as the thick dust and smoke make the two of them cover their mouths and cough violently. Cough, cough, cough. By now, Ren has been completely turned into an ice statue. Without a shred of mercy, Edward lets the statue topple over, shattering it into hundreds of pieces. He turns back with a look of annoyance, while Tika and Ye Xiao, utterly horrified, can't help but curse under their breath. That complete psychopath. Tika confronts Edward, demanding, You killed him. But why?" Edward replies coldly, "His job was to collect the totems and deal with the C-rank trash. If he couldn't even do that, then he was useless." Hearing this, Tika is horrified. "But this is just a competition. You actually killed someone just over a game." His words make Edward freeze for a brief second, before he suddenly bursts out laughing. Ha ha ha. He looks at him with a single eye, letting out a twisted chuckle. Ha! The psychic world competition is a brutal place. Around here, people only submit to the truly strong.